if Scotland get a point off Austria tonight,
I mean,
Austria then play the Faroes. They'll beat the Faroes, but the next they have to go to Denmark.
Yeah.
If they lose that, if they drop points to tonight, and they lose to Denmark, they're definitely gone. And then Israel play them.
Yes.
So they're playing a team they're out of the competition. So that's going to possibly make it easier for Israel.
The last two games are at home, though, aren't they?
For Austria, yes, they're at home to
Austria
home
and
to Moldova.
and Austria, Moldova.
Yeah.
And if you look at the permutation in that last group, in Richard, Israel play the Faroes at home.
Yes.
And we, of course, play Denmark at home. So I think we're going to have to go into the last group of games, with a little bit of fresh air between whoever is challenging us for second spot, are we not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, Willie. That's why I think a win tonight. Listen, a draw, given what happened in the Israel-Austria game on Saturday night, a draw wouldn't be a disaster by any means. But if you really want to make a positive stride in this group, you win tonight.
Absolutely.
Like an emphatic move.
Yes.
That's winning tonight.
Yeah, to be followed up with a win against Israel.
Then is very close. You can taste the playoff position at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing is absolutely guaranteed, Doddsy, that none of these 5 matches is going to be a canter, and none of them is going to be easy. Certainly Austria away isn't. We know all about Israel. We've seen this so many times. There's 5 games in the last 3 years, all very tight games, all very nervy, and particularly the games that Scotland have got anything out of. You've been away.
Away will be a tough one.
Well,
as well. Yeah, they'll be nervy as well. I don't think we're going to go and win that one 2 or 3-0.
And you can't see us winning the Faroes 2 or 3-0, can you, away from home?
Never do, Rich. Played in the Faroes.
I think we've won
2-0.
I think 2-0 is the biggest win we've had out there.
I'm going home. Listen to you.
Listen.
The thing is, boys, if we don't beat these teams, then there's no way that we're going to qualify in second spot. And we actually don't deserve if we can't take care. And I know what you're saying, Dodgy. I think these games can be difficult, but we have got to have enough to take care of the minnows in the group. I think, see if you get a victory tonight, I think it's an outstanding result. Absolutely outstanding result.
I'll still take a 0-0, even though Tom's
See, I don't think
slapped me down.
I don't think Scotland can get to second without producing a big victory somewhere. And by that I mean tonight, or at home to Israel, or
to Denmark in the last game.
Denmark. I think they have to produce at least one big marquee victory in those games.
I don't. Is beating Israel at home a marquee victory?
It is, because Scotland haven't done it in a long time.
Do you think it's a marquee victory?
I think in the context, if they get a point,
in the context of the past underperformance against them.
No, I think in the that for sure, but also in the context of the group, if they can get a point tonight and then they beat Israel, that is a marquee victory. That puts them in a very good position.
I'm expecting that we won that one.
I'd like to get to Denmark, beating the Faroes, whatever we do, Moldova, Israel, and see where we are, and hopefully we could take a draw against Denmark. That would be enough. That wouldn't get us to 18, though, Richard. That would be 16, is that right?
No. Well,
if we draw against Austria tonight, I'm talking about.
Draw against Austria and win the next 3, then that gets us to 18 points ahead of the Denmark game.
Right, 18. Okay.
If it is a draw tonight, if Austria's results go as you would anticipate, so winning away to Faroes, losing away to Denmark, winning at home to Israel, then they'd be on 14 points going into the final game at home to Moldova. So we'd have clear daylight over them.
Yep.
And Israel, if they lose tonight and if we beat them, and that's obviously a big if. And Austria beat them in terms of the computation they have suggested, then they're only 13 points going into the Faroes. So actually,
I can see Biscuits thinking,
we could have that clear daylight that Willie that you were looking for. All it takes is a draw and 3 wins in the next 4 matches.
And you hope that Israel don't do anything silly like getting a point tonight against Denmark
or winning in Austria.
Yeah, we don't want any of that. We don't want any of that nonsense.
No, none of that nonsense. Thank you very much.
Or winning at Hampden.
Right. I actually, look. I mean, tonight clearly is hugely difficult and hugely important, but all it does, it just moves, shifts everything. Everything you're feeling right now, you just pick it up and you ship it to next month, because that game against Israel is going to feel even more tense if we're in that situation.
But if we don't win tonight, Richard, if we don't take something from the game tonight, it's pretty depressing, isn't it?
I think it's curtains. I think it's curtains if they don't win tonight, or if they lose tonight. Mm-hmm. That means Scotland down to 4th. Austria will be 2 points ahead of them, and Israel at home to come. Tough games, you know. So this, as I said, they have to produce a big performance, and why not tonight? I'm going to shed my natural pessimism. And say that Scotland, well, I'm not actually, because my forecasts are notoriously horrendous.
You were going into crazy territory there.
Yeah, exactly, does. I'm coming back from the brink here, because every time I predict something that I want to happen, it doesn't happen. So
Tom, if someone right now were to offer you a coffee, what coffee would you like?
I would probably go for a latte, actually.
Right, okay, thank you. That'll help Paige, who's desperately trying to attract your attention as she came into the studio there. So,
thank you, Paige.
It will be lattes all around. Not for Doddsy, because he's
cheers, lads. Selfish, if you ask me.
Yeah, but of course, away from the international action, as you pointed out to me, Billy, a huge game in the Championship this evening. Ayr United 0, Wraith Rovers 2. Ethan Verrian getting a second goal for the club. Dario Zanata has made a good start to the season. So Wraith were 2-0 up within half an hour, within 25 minutes in fact, and now with the hour played, it is still 2-0 for John Miglin's side. Of course, playing catch up, they'd only played 2 games ahead of this evening, and a long way behind the runaway league leaders in the Championship right now, Billy Dodds.
Yeah, I hope it remains that way. No, it's a big game, isn't it, for Wraith Rovers, especially for Ayr. I know we're talking international tonight, but Ayr United struggling to get started. They're only in 1 point, but with Wraith not playing, they're expected to be in the playoff places at least, Wraith Rovers, and it's a big result for them. With their game against Dunfermline getting cancelled, but winning down Ayr United's no mean feat. 2-0 up, as you say, Rich.
Yeah, keep an eye. Yeah.
Has your life changed, Dodsey? You don't have the carefree kind of, I think I'll go for a game of golf today. None of that anymore, right?
Can I tell you how much we enjoy sending him selfies from the golf course these days?
It's horrible, and I know where English is going. He's thinking about just walking on Dunblane every second day. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, I'm playing there tomorrow and Friday. I was played a couple of weeks ago. Doddsy played Brora and Dornoch.
A good shout you gave me. You're all horrible.
You're too busy, Doddsy, to play golf. You're too busy. Winning big football matches. That's what you're about.
You always wanted to be your own man, Doddsy.
I'm paying for it as well.
Great start to the season for Billy, and we will keep an eye on that game. The under-21s moving ever closer to full-time, into stoppage time now. Still 1-1. They led for a large chunk of that game thanks to Glenn Middleton and his Destan with the equaliser 15 minutes from the end of the regulation 90. Remember, highlights from Vienna coming up this evening, 10:35 on BBC Scotland, and the match, the big kick-off, just over 25 minutes away. We heard from Steve Clarke. Callum McGregor has also been chatting with the media in the build-up to this one. Let's hear what the Celtic captain had to say.
It's a must-not-lose game rather than, must-win. A win would be great. Everyone's feeling good. A win the other night as well keeps the momentum going, and like you say, we want to win the game. It puts us in the best possible position, but like you said, if you want to label it, then it's probably must not lose. We know it's a big game, especially after the result the other night as well. We get a positive result, they get a negative result, and we're getting to the point where you're starting to run out of games. So the next 2 or 3 are massive for us, and we want to start on the right foot. You don't want to look too far ahead, but that's the nature of qualification. You have to try and earmark where you're going to get your points and what you need. So if we can come away with 4 points in the next 2 games, then I think we're doing well.
Callum, from within the squad, what's your assessment of how well you think you're playing, and how much room maybe for improvement there is from the players' point of view?
I think we can always improve. I think as footballers, that's the goal every day in training. You try and get better personally, and then as a collective, you're always trying to push to get better as a team as well. So off the back of the Euros and the major tournament, it's great exposure for the players, playing at the real top level. So you get a taste for that and you want to go again. So you take what you've learned for the summer and you always try and implement it every single day. And when you get to the point in the game, you try and take what you've learned and put it into practice as well. So, like I said, for footballers, every day is a day to try and get better, and that's certainly what this group have got in terms of mindset as well.
And with this triple header, are you roughly where you thought you'd be going into the last game? Maybe there wasn't a great expectation of a win in Denmark, but there would have been an expectation to beat Moldova, and now this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think when we met up at the start of the week, like you said, you start to earmark the games and where you can try and get full focus is on that now.
And do you think Israel now are the main dangers for second? Have they maybe surprised a few of us, or maybe they haven't surprised us? Maybe we knew that they were always going to be.
Yeah, I think we knew. We've had so many games against them. The players certainly knew what Israel are capable of, and they've thrown themselves in the mix as well. So there's 4 good teams probably really pushing now to get to 2 places. So it's up to us to be one of the 2. That has to be our mindset as players.
Callum McGregor started, of course, against Denmark. He was left out for the home game against Moldova, came on for the final 25 minutes. He's back where I think we would all anticipate him being to win his 37th cap this evening, alongside Billy Gilmore and John McGinn in midfield. Craig, he was always coming back in for this one, wasn't he, Callum?
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if McTominay was fit, who would have started. That would have given Steve a trickier trickier choice, really. But for me, I think he has to come back into the team. His experience is vital in this match. I'm delighted that Gilmore's playing again. Really pleased with that. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to wait and see. And again, be interesting to see how we line up with this three-man midfield. What it is, a 1 and a 2.
Yeah. So just pick up on that again. Cause you think, in terms of how we want to approach the game, it would be better to have 1 than 2. In terms of
Gilmore a little bit deeper, and then Callum a little bit higher, and John McGinn a little bit higher as well. But I think Steve will start with Callum McGregor lower and Billy lower, and John McGinn supporting the front 2. For me, that's harder to press in that system, and but it might be the case that he's been cagey at the start, doesn't want to give too much away. That would be Steve's normal approach. But I do think we need to rattle them tonight, and I think the best way to do that is get after them early in the game. If there's any nerves or any doubts in their minds after the 5-2 loss, then we can go and maybe try and affect that, try and get them thinking that they're under pressure. And I think if we come in this game and sit off and let them get into their rhythm and start to feel good, then I think we're in trouble.
Incidentally, full time in Bursa, so it has ended. Turkey 1, Scotland 1. To kick off the Scots qualifying campaign for the under-21s. Glenn Middleton with the opener, and Destin with a level at about 15 minutes from the end. Willie, you have similar feelings in terms of that midfield, how it's going to shape up?
What was the decision? I think Craig was the 2 sitting and the 1 up top.
He thinks that's what it.
Yep.
Steve Clarke.
I would agree with that. I think. I mean, it is Steve Clarke. There's no disrespect intended in that statement, but I think that's the type of manager he is. I think he'll err on the cautious side. I just hope that, it's a cautious approach, but it's a high line approach, and trying to engage with the opposition. Because I agree with Craig wholeheartedly. I think if you give them time to bed themselves in and feel good about themselves after that result against Israel, then I think you're asking, for a major disappointment. So I would think the 2 and the 1 up top, and I think that's plenty. And asking your wing backs to get forward and give you the width there, I don't see any issue with that. And actually saying to your 3 centre backs, take a wee bit of responsibility and just defend here, will you? Because there's 3 of them, so there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that, and try to knock them out their stride early on. Try to put the pressure onto them. If the media have put in pressure, which Tom will probably know and expect, I would think that the Austrian media would be putting pressure on Austria on the back of that result against Israel, then get them tested, get their mettle tested. We're speaking about our mentality and whether our players are capable of having that positive mental approach to the game. Well, let's get them tested. In the back of that embarrassing defeat, you would have to say, would you not? Scotland were to lose against Israel by that margin, I think we would all feel embarrassed about it. So the Austrians must be questioning the manager, questioning the players. And we should question them. I think that's how we start the game, by, laying the gauntlet down and saying to them, look, this isn't going to be an easy night for you. And that's all you can do. I think if you do that, then you've got a chance. But if you sit off and allow them to get themselves bedded in and allow them to feel good and start just, slotting the passes to each other, then I think you're just asking for trouble.
Richard, sorry, do you mind if I interject here just with something that might well come into play at some point with regards to Austria? Because they are, of course, sitting pretty much with a guaranteed playoff place coming into this group because of their performance in the Nations League last year. Now, I just wonder if that is maybe taking a bit of pressure off them in some of these games. They've been whooped twice by Denmark and then Israel. So I don't know if that comes into their mindset, because like Scotland during the last qualifying campaign, which was the worst I think they've put in all of time, yet they made it into the finals. The pressure wasn't there for them. They knew they had a playoff space waiting for them to get to Euro 2020, which they took. Austria are pretty much guaranteed a playoff because the first four in the Nations League rankings are France, Belgium, Italy and Spain. Now, they're all going to win their group, I think, quite clear, at least finish top two. Yeah. The next two to benefit are Wales and Austria, and they're both currently out with the top two in their respective groups.
Let's hope they have that mindset tonight, Liam. And boys, we can give them a good whipping, as Liam said there. Just make sure we turn them over. That'd be good.
Thing is, though, if they don't start winning games, the manager mightn't be around to try and take advantage of the Nations League, because he'll be under pressure.
Well, that happened with Scotland, didn't it, Tom?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, absolutely, it's a nice thing to have in the bank, but it didn't do Alex McLeish much good.
Just watching the pictures there from the Ernst Happel, I don't know what the eventual turnout will be in terms of the fans, but they certainly seem to have got the atmosphere going there. It's very lively, lots of flags being waved around, and no doubt they will be pumping out some Euro pop. And then that's generally what you get in these stadiums in Austria and Germany. You can be guaranteed it'll be like something from Euro Trash back in the 1990s.
ABBA's got a new album out.
Well, I don't know if it's even available yet, Will, is it?
Two songs. There's two songs, There's two songs released.
All right.
Excellent, actually. Excellent.
Are they? Excellent. So, of course, it's the what are they called, nanobots, or whatever they're going to be. They're not actually doing going to be touring, but they will be sending out images to tour.
Avatars, is it? Avatars. Are they coming to Scotland? Do we know? Are they the avatars?
Come to Glasgow.
Just
you'd imagine they come to Glasgow.
Stevie's down at the
I think the avatars are self-isolating at the moment.
Anyway, I'm sure the Scottish players will have their own music to go back and listen to in the dressing room. Defence is going to be important tonight, Craig Gordon. We've touched on the back three then. Henry, Hanley, Tierney, O'Donnell and Robertson, the wing backs. Good balance, good mix of experience there. Happy?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, and good pace in the back line. Arnautovic is a really good goal scorer. His biggest asset isn't his pace, so I think we can play higher, and I think that'll be quite important tonight. But yeah, Henry's done really well, hasn't he? Because he went from Dundee to Celtic, didn't really settle, didn't quite get a chance, and then he's had to go abroad to make a name for himself. And I thought he had a good performance the other night. Hanley's a much more mature centre back. Doesn't make the mistakes that he occasionally made previously, which comes with experience, of course. And Tierney, if we can get Tierney and Robertson working down that side, like we have done in recent matches, when they're worked together, of course, I think that's something that's really, for the opposition, is really difficult to defend. Because a lot of the time, if a centre back starts running with the ball, midfield players have got their people that they're marking, and then as soon as somebody leaves their man to go and confront Tierney, then hopefully he can slip the ball, maybe play a 1-2 or something like that, and then play Robertson in. So I really like that. I think it's something that's really difficult to deal with, and hopefully those two are on their game tonight.
And Willie, you touched on this about the importance, certainly of that left side. Clearly, it's important right across the back line, particularly, you'd imagine, because the Austrians, as you were pointing out earlier, do create plenty chances.
Yeah, but I think these two going forward are a real weapon for us, are they not? I mean, I think they've shown that in games, Tierney and Robertson combining, whichever one decides to go forward, whichever one supports it. I think that is something that we've got to encourage. I'm sure Steve Clarke will be encouraging it, and I think that is a real strength from a forward thinking point of view. I think defensively then, Tierney at the back post with a header against Denmark, but playing in a slightly unusual position for him in recent times. Maybe has got an excuse. I agree about Hanley. I think Hanley went in my mind from a player that you couldn't rely on, that you were always a little bit concerned that he was going to do something rather silly, and he has done it a couple of times, but he's matured greatly as a player, and we've heard about his attitude and his pace as well, and he's now looking as good as you're going to get, and certainly if you're playing that high line as far as pace is concerned, there's no many going to beat him. And Henry as well. I think he deserves it. I think his performances have been pretty good at that right centre back position. I know that maybe fingers were pointed at him the Czech Republic game, for the magnificent goal that was scored. But I think at some point you've got to take a bit of responsibility and go forward. And I think defensively he's been good. They can use the ball, and he's got good pace too, and tall in there. So no, the back three for me are pretty good, and I think the blend is better. I think Cooper maybe not so good use of the ball, but I think Tierney and Hanley, Tierney and Henry are pretty good users of the ball, and Hanley's not too bad. I think as long as he keeps it simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're looking for him simply to defend right in the middle of that. Heart of that defence, aren't you, Billy? O'Donnell back in, of course. Stephen O'Donnell earned his 24th cap. It was Nathan Patterson that started out against Moldova. I wonder, would Stephen O'Donnell have come in anyway, do you think, even if Patterson had been available?
I'm not so sure he would have, but Stephen O'Donnell's, even though he's got experience at international level, he's one of those players that it all depends how he starts in the game, because if he starts well, he seems to go on and have a really good game, and he did. He showed a response and a good mentality against England. Thought he was top notch, but if he doesn't start well in games, he can get into his head, and he doesn't look comfortable at times. He's not sure, but listen, he's a good player to have in tonight with Patterson missing out, and if he's got that mentality about him, steely, believing in himself, and starts the game well, I'm expecting a big performance from him, Rich.
Yeah, he's a confidence player, Stephen, and you think back.
That's what I'm talking about. Why it's amazing when you get to a certain stage in your career. I know. Listen, you can still have sometimes. Sometimes the confidence is not top notch, but it seems to really affect Stephen. I don't know if he's having a bad game and it just goes on from bad to worse, but when he's playing well, he looks like a top player. I just hope he's in that frame of mind tonight. Sometimes I don't quite get it with Stephen.
But he was certainly in that frame of mind at Wembley, wasn't he? And that's the kind of performance we'd love to see.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's a testament to him that he had such a poor day against the Czech Republic. And he was really at the heart of the post-mortem, wasn't he? The criticism of him. When you come back, he's played really, really well against England. Terrifically well, actually. Didn't play so well against Croatia. So there's character there. No question, there's character there. But every one of these guys tonight, to get a win, even to get a draw, certainly to get a win, they need to deliver very, very close to their absolute optimum performance. And they need goals. And look, Dykes has got to be a confident player. He scored 4 goals in his last 4 games. He's got to be confident. There's got to be confident players in this team. Billy Gilmore, McGinn, McGregor, they all have to be confident. Their club careers are going very well. Plenty of their club careers are going well. Hendry's just got a big move. Hanley is a captain of a Premier League team. Tierney, okay, it's gone pear-shaped for him at Arsenal, but he's still a class player. It's just a question, do they believe in themselves? I keep going back to that. Do they actually go onto that pitch tonight and they actually believe in their heart of hearts that they're good enough to win this game?
We'll find out. And wouldn't it be wonderful if indeed they did? It looked for a long time as if the under-21s were going to win their opener in the group, but eventually had to settle for a 1-1 draw with Turkey. The match was live on BBC Scotland Channel. Paul Mitchell was doing the commentary, and he's here now just to update us on the 90 minutes. We tried to keep across it, but of course you were focusing a little bit more intently on that game.
Just a little bit, Richard. So, if I say Scotland, it.
Right. Okay. Say no more.
Yeah, I mean, basically, really good first half. Great chance from Middleton early to get the goal. Scotland looked very, very comfortable early. Really good first half. Very well organised. Was very, very impressed. Now, there were 6 guys making their debut at that level. However, if you look at the back line of Doig, Mayo, Welsh and Ramsey, that could play in the Premiership. It's a really good back four. Changes were made by the Turks. They made 3 changes right on half-time. They were not impressed with the way that they'd been playing, and they came out with a spark. Scotland struggled. They looked to have held off, and then a corner comes in, 2 players go for it, bounces awkwardly off Welsh, and Desan is there to knock the ball past Sinclair. You just think it was an ugly goal to lose, but then it was chances. James Scott had 2 great chances, and Glenn Middleton had a chance. Zach Rudden had a chance. You couldn't have asked for more in terms of creating chances, but they're up against Ersan Destaloglu, who is Bestikash's goalkeeper. Lloris went to Liverpool, he came in, he's played over 50 times. I mean, one of the, I think it was from Middleton, he just sticks the hand up, it's reaction save. So there was an awful lot of good tonight. I just wish they could have got it over the line.
It just looked like an absolute giant, the Turkish goal. Just like, what is he?
6'5". 6'5".
So you're saying that the history repeated itself then from profligate strikers?
Yeah.
So there's no magic bullet in this side for the senior team to this clinical goal scorer.
No, I mean, to be fair to Middleton, he takes his goal brilliantly. I mean, it was a really, really good finish after the goalkeeper made the save. The ball gets fizzed back in. I think James Scott, one of them came at him from a goalkeeper clearance. He wasn't expecting him. The goalkeeper just hoofed it at him.
But he did have time, didn't he?
A little bit more composure.
Yeah,
a little bit more composure. And I think Leanne Crichton in co-commentary, I think what he was trying to do was put the ball right in the corner where he didn't need to. I think it was just, as long as he curled it past the keeper, it was there. So he was trying to be too precise. I liked Zach Rudden when he came on. I thought, he came on for Kai Kennedy a little bit more going forward. But a physical presence was needed at that point. Kai Kennedy had a really good game. I think Scotland should have won it. I think they deserved to win it. And just unfortunately, we've seen the movie before, boys. We fall short.
Because of that very tough group with Belgium and Denmark being in there. So actually, a win in Turkey would have been an incredible way to start it. But we look forward to that campaign unfolding. Paul, thank you very much indeed to you. I'm assuming they'll have some highlights from the under-21s on the highlights programme this evening.
It's certainly going on the website as well later.
Right,
so people will say, if you've not seen the goal from Glenn Middleton, recommend it. Really cool fun.
Yeah, very, very well taken. So 1-1 it finished for the under-21s, and you can hear the atmosphere just beginning to make its way through. They've moved on from the Europop to the chamber music in the background, which I've got to say is altogether more palatable than what I'm sure they were pumping out earlier, if my experiences across the continent are anything to go by. But it's looking like a pretty busy stadium, and certainly I think they've clearly been handing out the flags, I would imagine. I mean, the red and white, that's probably a sponsor's name on the flag. There are so many of them, but it is quite a sight there, and we are inching ever closer, just about 6.5 minutes until the match is due to kick off, and the players are now beginning to gather in the tunnel deep down below the stadium. What a night it could be for Scotland. Remember, as things stand in the group, Denmark unbeatable, no one can score against them, 15 points from 5 matches. Israel have 10 points, Scotland have 8, Austria 7, and then the 2 Minos Faroe Islands and Moldova, who actually meet this evening with the Faroes having home advantage. They've both got a single point apiece. If Scotland can get a draw, if they can meet and match Tom English's ambitions and get a win, my goodness, what a lift that would give everyone in the build-up to the final 4 matches of the campaign. But it is not going to be easy against an Austrian team that certainly caught the eye at the Euros, and I guess we'll Well, we'll know one thing pretty quickly, Tom, in terms of that self-belief, and that will be how they come out, Scotland, how they approach the game, how they take to the early stages. The other answer that we're looking for, have they found a way of putting the ball in the net, will only come if we make the chances, and then we'll find out.
Yeah, I think Scotland score first, then, you know, it's just a sickener. It's a sickener for Austria. You know, considering the 5 goals that they conceded, they have to get off to a flyer. You saw against Denmark, the game was over after 15 minutes. The game was over against the Czech Republic pretty early in the second half. The game was over with about 15 or 20 minutes to go against Croatia. Just stay in the game. Stay in the game. Even if it's a draw, if it's a 0-0, even if they're 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, stay in there.
Yeah.
That's imperative, because sometimes Scotland just play themselves out of a game too early.
It is by no means a full house. I'm assuming that is probably, I don't know if it's if it's COVID related or not, but there are big chunks of the stadium where there are no fans, but they've got other chunks where they've got everybody rammed in together to certainly add to the spectacle. And one thing Scotland will certainly be hoping to do is to quieten down the crowd. Now that we're getting back used to seeing crowds, big crowds in at matches across the continent. David Alaba leading out Austria. Andrew Robertson, of course, has led out the Scots, and the two sides are down in the middle of the pitch there, flanking the officials for this evening as we move, of course, as is the tradition before international matches, heading towards the national anthems. John McGinn was the first voice you heard, incidentally. He was certainly giving it plenty for the national anthem there. There is a sprinkling of Scottish fans inside the stadium, but of course in the main it is the Austrians, and I'm sure they will be joining in right now. Austrian national anthem. I can tell you it is all kicked off in that game at Somerset Park. Ayr United 0, Raith Rovers 2 still. Just a couple of minutes to go, but Ayr United have had both Jonathan Afolabi and Aaron Muirhead sent off in that one, and Raith have had Blaise Riley-Snow sent off. Those 3 red cards in the final 15 minutes, but it's looking like 3 points for Wraith Rovers. A United 0, Wraith Rovers 2. We'll hear more from Billy Dodds a little bit later. We'll hear from Tom English as well. But right now, live from the Ernst Happel Stadium in Vienna, it is this crucial World Cup qualifier between Austria and Scotland. It's live with us here on Sports End on BBC Radio Scotland with Craig Levine, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
Yeah, just about time for the biggest game in this campaign so far. And it may well depend on what happens in Vienna tonight as to the magnitude of the other 4 that Scotland have to contest in Group F. The 22nd meeting between Austria and Scotland. The Austrians hold the advantage on the head-to-head with 8 wins to the Scots 5. There have been 8 draws. It's the first time the Scots have been in Austria since a friendly in May 2007. Alec McLeish's side won 1-0 in Vienna. Alan McGregor made his international debut that evening. Gary O'Connor scored the only goal of the game. The Scots are unbeaten in their last 4 visits to Austria since losing 3-2 in a 1978 Euros qualifier. And it's the first competitive meetings, these two in this group, between the senior sides since the 98 World Cup qualifiers, for which both made it through, losing just 1 game apiece. The Scots' high-profile, or most high-profile meeting with the Austrians, probably the 1954 World Cup in Switzerland. Willie's laughing in the background because a radio-controlled car is currently delivering the football to the centre circle ahead of kick-off. And I've seen that once or twice, but I'm not sure if Willie's noticed it before. He's certainly enjoyed that. Let's hope Willie's smiling come full-time. The Scots line up with Gordon in goal, Hendry, Hanley and Tierney are a back 3, O'Donnell and Robertson wide, McGinn, Gilmer and McGregor in the middle, Adams and Dykes up front. The Scots will kick this match off in all navy blue with red and white flashes going right to left as we watch. Dugout side of the stadium, the Bulgarian referee's happy. We're underway in this massive qualifier. Austria in their red and white colours as that long ball goes out to the far side over the head of Alaba, who will let it drift out for a throw-in to the home team. The pitch looks pretty decent, conditions look pretty decent in the Austrian capital as well, going by the pictures that we're getting here as the Austrian skipper takes the short throw-in nowadays of Real Madrid is David Alaba. Just took that one short there to the left of the midfield. It's now moved out to Christopher Trimmel on the right flank, moving up towards the halfway line, the Union Berlin man, and he skips easily away from Robertson, rolling it infield. And then the first time ball comes up towards the edge of the penalty area. The first time pass there was aimed for Arnautovic from Gardner, but it's all the way through to Craig Gordon in the opening minute of the game. The Austrians getting an early feel of possession inside the final third, and what Scotland don't want to do is collapse as they did in Copenhagen 6 nights ago, especially against what you would imagine would be the main rivals for second spot in this group, though the Israelis are giving both these nations something to think about, as that goes back to Daniel Bachmann, who conceded 5 in Haifa the other night. Scotland pick it up with O'Donnell, long ball out to this near side, and it's pretty aimless, and it goes out for a throw-in to the Austrians on this near side. Willie Miller and Craig Levine watching this one with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get a feel for, you know, how Scotland are approaching this. You know, from the kick-off, it was the long one out to Dykes, trying to get themselves up the park. You know, I think Austria have started confidently, particularly Trimmel down the right-hand side, going by Andy Robertson. Don't know what Andy Robertson was thinking right enough, diving in. So it's way too early, but you know, Scotland in the opposition half, which is a good sign at this moment in time.
Robertson caught napping on the ball midway inside the Austria half, though. It's played back into the midfield. First time pass there by Stefan Ilsanker of Eintracht Frankfurt out to Alaba, who does indeed start at left back. He can play left back, centre back, midfield, left midfield. He can play just about anywhere. The Real Madrid man, who's been playing centre half for his club, who he joined in the summer. As the Austrians pick up with Dragovic. Short ball out to the right, first time into feet of Leimer on the halfway line. And then it's Konrad Leimer switching the play out to Alaba wide on that left-hand side. He's now driving forward into space. O'Donnell's at the angle of the box for the defending as the cross ball comes in. Flicked away on the 6-yard line by Tierney. It's going to be kept in play by Limer, wide in the right level with the penalty spot. Bends the ball in swinger on top of the keeper. Sails away from Gordon, and Stephen O'Donnell's able to hook it clear. 3 goalless minutes in, but Austria already, Craig, flexing their muscles.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic cross into the box, wasn't it? And if it wasn't for Tierney with a great saving header, we could have been in trouble.
Here comes Trimble down the right. He crosses in too. It's headed away by Hanley. 3 cross balls into the Scottish box within the last minute. It is Arnautovic, the big striker. He's popped up wide in the right here, under pressure from Gilmour. Shrugging him off, but running into trouble in the shape of Adams, who wins it back for Scotland across the halfway line. Driving forward, Dykes to his right. It's a little ball infield to John McGinn. McGinn looking for the break of the ball. Good slide challenge, though, takes it away from the Scotland midfielder, from Martin Hinteregger, and it's back with Bachmann. That was a good positive break forward by Shea Adams and by Scotland, though.
It was direct, wasn't it? Arnautovic really should have kept possession.
Limer's inside the penalty area, little back heel, looking to try and work it back into the path of his teammate who'd slipped it through to him in the first place. Scotland clear on the penalty spot, and it goes out for an Austrian throw-in around about the halfway line. 4 goalless minutes in, as it's taken by Trimble, and he works it back the way to Ilsanker, who collects again just inside the Scotland half.
Liam, if we had any doubts about the Austrians being up for it, this first 5 minutes is really told as a story, hasn't it?
Yep. It's all Austria right now. It's a little dummy there. Might break to Limer. Is at the edge of the box, looking for space to shoot. Darts into the penalty area. Robertson forcing him wide, though. Rolls it back to Arnautovic. Manages to flick it to Alaba. He picks it up in the box. Little bit of space. Alaba back onto the left foot, looking to pull the trigger, and it's blocked by a diving Hanley. It's last ditch from the Scots. It's 0-0, but really, really ominous signs in these opening almost 5 minutes in Vienna. Nothing each, as that's given away oh so cheaply by Gilmour. Stab ball onto the chest of Alaba, midway inside the Scotland half to Arnautovic. First time sliced up into the air there by Hanley. Hendry with a header away, comes back at him, heads it away again. Gilmour's able to get onto it at the edge of the box. His clearance goes straight to Alaba, though. Short ball out wide left for the Austrians again, with Baumgartner gets the cross ball in, headed clear. McGregor's cushion header out to O'Donnell on the far side, and he clears with the right boot. Little chest there by Hinteregger, down the left for Alaba, looks up, bends the left foot, ball in, it's allowed to bounce and headed away by Tierney. It was Grant Hanley who left it, and Limer was right in behind him. Tierney had to deal with it. Here come the Austrians again, looking to land a blow in these early exchanges. Alaba leaving it for Baumgartner, short pass there for Austria down that left-hand side for Alaba again. The cross comes in, headed down by Hanley, only as far as Arnautovic to the edge of the box, and he shoots just wide of the right-hand post. Almost 6 in. Austria 0, Scotland 0, but the Scots are bang up against the ropes in Vienna.
I think you take a deep breath if you're out there on the field of play wondering what's actually hitting you. It's a whirlwind, isn't it? I mean, they're 2 fullbacks. One thing I would say is that I think it will give us opportunities to hit them in the break, as long as we can kind of get over this early spell and they don't actually score, because our 2 fullbacks are way up the park. They're only playing with a back 4, so there is space there to take advantage of if we can get the ball.
2 things for me already. The Scottish centre-backs have won every header. For me, it's really encouraging, because they put 6 crosses into the box in this first 5 or 6 minutes. So that for me is really encouraging. The second thing is they're wide open at the back because they've advanced so many players, and the longer they feel that they can go forward, they'll leave it even more open at the back. But we just need to take advantage of that. With one break, one opportunity, and John McGinn couldn't quite get the shot away.
You need to keep it tight at the back. It's just 2 clean sheets in 13 away games for Scotland. It was in that pre-tournament friendly in Luxembourg, and then of course at Wembley. As the free kick for the Scots for offside from the centre circle's pumped forward, but it's going to break to Limer again. He's been heavily involved midway inside his own half as he turns it there to the number 10 Florian Grilic of Hoffenheim. Out to Alaba, driving forward again midway inside the Scotland half. Out wide left for Baumgartner, who's got a couple in his last 2 for his country as his cross ball comes in. It's cleared by Hanley. Now it's with Callum McGregor. He's caught napping in the edge of the box. Hendry's there just to escort it back to Craig Gordon, who slides down and flops onto it. 7.5 in. Austria 0, Scotland 0. They're really struggling to contain Konrad Limer, the RB Leipzig midfielder. Really good attacking threat for the Austrians as Robertson chips it forward, looking for Adams. An important header away by Hinteregger though, and now it's Alaba, but he wanted too long on it, and Shea Adams wins it back midway inside the Austrian half. Out to Robertson, first time low ball, left hand side of the box. McGinn, first time cross comes in, it's good, header down, saved brilliantly by Bachmann. It was Lyndon Dykes from 6 yards out. It's the former Kilmarnock goalkeeper who keeps out the Scotland striker, and it stays Austria 0, Scotland 0 in 8 minutes.
I think it's fasten your seatbelts, isn't it? And really, you know, this game is rocking. It's going from one end to the other. What an opportunity. Great run from John McGinn. A lovely little dink to the back post. Lyndon Dykes does, you know, what a good striker. He gets above the defender. He heads down as well. It's a decent save, maybe not too far away from the goalkeeper, but a really good move, and it's just going from end to end. It's brilliant entertainment. It looks as though it could be a really open game, and you know, like you said, Craig, and like we spoke about, it looks as though Scotland are going to get a bit of room to hit them in the break.
Shea Adams down the left hand side, trying to get the break of the ball off Trimmel, and he back heels it down the line, but it goes out for a throw in to the Austrians. And Christopher Trimmel, 34 years of age, recently back in the national folds, and he's looked impressive in these early stages, and having a really good time of it at Union Berlin in Germany, recently into the Bundesliga, and more than holding their own as we see a replay of Daniel Bachmann saving from Dykes. And it's Scotland in possession with O'Donnell right of the centre circle for McGregor. Now Hendry, back to O'Donnell, and then back to Jack Hendry, heading towards 10 minutes, goalless. The ball forward towards Dykes. Good defending this time by Hinteregger. Now it's with Limer. It's a long ball for Arnautovic. He's on goal side of Hanley. Is to check and then tries to cut it back there for a teammate. Arnautovic looking for Baumgartner, and then he fouls his man over on the far side. Doesn't agree with the decision. It was the former West Ham striker. He's very difficult to contain. Arnautovic has got a good goal scoring record. He's touching the 30 mark for his country, and he scored 4 in 5 games for club and country this season. As Arnautovic, currently of Bologna in Serie A. He's still pontificating about the decision to award Scotland a free kick in the edge of their own box, which will be taken by Craig Gordon.
His movement was good though, wasn't it? You know, I think Grant Hanley could have been a little bit closer to him with the initial pass, but it was a really good pass over the top for the striker to, you know, try to set up you know, a teammate. I'm not too sure who it was that was making the deep line run. Then it fell back to him, and he really put the laces through. It was a good block.
Defending so far has been good, Willie. I mean, headers, blocks from shots. We just need to, when we do get the ball back, we just need to make that first pass calmly so that we can make a counter-attack. But sometimes just rushing everything and giving the ball away.
Robertson challenged on the near side, comes back to Gilmer. His pass is wayward though. A couple of loose balls from both teams. Scotland pick up with McGregor to McGinn, who goes down. Gilmer's on site to try and keep it going. Eventually it drops to Adams. He's at the edge of the box, trying to get on the right foot here. But it all breaks down and ends up back with Bachmann 11 and 0-0 in Vienna.
Well, I hope the whole game's going to be like this, because I'll tell you what an exciting 10 minutes we've had.
I'm not sure Steve Clarke wants an exciting opening 10 minutes. He wouldn't complain if Scotland managed to score with that effort. And it actually all stemmed from Alaba, Shea Adams nicking it off him, and then they worked it round the back. The cross from McGinn was great. He just contorted his body, chipped it in, and Dykes' effort was saved as Austria come down into the Scotland half again. It's Baumgartner rolling it back to Alaba at the left angle of the Scottish penalty area. The Austrian skipper trying to shuffle away from O'Donnell, sticks with him, but Alaba's got his cross in, almost fell to Arnautovic, and I think Limer feels he should have done better, perhaps jumped a little bit too early. That allowed the ball to sail over his head and allowed Scotland to clear. O'Donnell's away down the right if they can find him here. Robertson on the counters found O'Donnell, right hand side of the box. A poor ball though, really poor. He'd 2 in the middle, and Dykes and Adams, and inexplicably he's rolled it along the edge of the D, and Austria get easy possession back, 12 in at 0-0.
I don't know why he's kind of snatched at that cross. He's got plenty of time, isn't he? He's less, you know, his rampaging run was brilliant. He's left Alaba totally stranded up the park, so it was on. It was a good crossfield pass to him. He's got time to touch him, put the
you know what
cross in.
happened? He took too long to look up. I think after his first touch he took too long to look up, because he could have put the ball in earlier. and it would have right across the face of the goal. It was a great opportunity. It was a great run forward for him and a good spot by Robertson, but we should have got at least a shot of goal from that.
Good defending by Tierney just to hold off Leimer down the right-hand side of the Austrian team, and it goes behind for a goal kick for Craig Gordon to take. No goals in the other matches in the group. Faroe Islands, Moldova, pretty much inconsequential. Denmark 0, Israel 0. Both these teams, especially the Scots, given they don't have the safety net of what looks to be a guaranteed playoff, as the Austrians do thanks to the Nations League. They will be hoping Denmark do the business against the Israelis, who seem to be getting better and better by the campaign. 13.5 in the Austrian capital. It's goalless. It's a Scotland free kick left of the centre circle to be taken by Tierney. Steve Clarke's out the edge of his technical area, talking to a couple of his players, trying to make their way through still the early exchanges of this game, as Tierney takes the free kick left-footed. Big switch out to that right-hand side. It's one in the air by O'Donnell, headed clear by Hinteregger. Alaba has headed it straight back to O'Donnell, who goes down. No free kick, and Alaba emerges with it for Austria and rolls it to Baumgartner down the left-hand side. Scotland trying to get bodies back. It's another poor ball, though, this time Baumgartner, as McGregor picks up. Now McGregor driving away from Alaba. Across comes Hinteregger. McGregor turning it back to O'Donnell. Infield to Gilmour. Keeps it going out towards Callum McGregor. Came off O'Donnell. Wasn't the target, but fortunately it does make it to McGregor anyway, as he passes it back along the deck to Gilmour via O'Donnell, and then Hendry back out to Stephen O'Donnell on the right-hand side, the Motherwell captain. Here's Jack Hendry. Chipped ball forward. It's going to be easily dealt with by Bachmann. That wasn't a good use of it. 14.5 in, nothing each.
Well, it's high energy, isn't it? I think from both sides. Obviously Austria are trying to, make their mark on the game, but it's not a game where the home side is that keen to keep possession. They seem to want to drive forward and put Scotland under pressure. So normally you would expect maybe them to get a bit of a hold in the midfield area, but that certainly hasn't happened.
They're going forward quickly.
Yeah, chance here for the Austrians. It's been flicked out to the left for Baumgartner, who shoots. It's wide, it's across the face, past the reverse post. Baumgartner looking to continue his really good goal scoring form for his country. He's got 6 in 16 caps. He scored the winner against Ukraine in Bucharest at Euro 2020, which was a huge result for the Austrians. But that time he's off target. Craig Gordon looked pretty cool as he put the left hand up in the air.
I think you put him down the line there, Craig. Don't know what you feel there, but allow him to come inside you and fire one off. He's looking for the top corner with the right foot. I think Jack Henry's got to try and force him into a tight area down towards the byline.
Absolutely, he's a right-footed player playing on the left. He wants to go onto his right foot, keep him on keep him down the channel, keep him going towards the byline.
Foul by Lyndon Dykes and Hinteregger. Dykes will have to be careful. He's one of the players who's a booking away from missing the next match. O'Donnell, Hanley, Christie, Dykes, Hendry and Nisbet have all been booked already. 2 yellow cards, and you will miss a game.
Don't mind that at all, Liam. I really don't. He's just let the centre defender know that he's there. He's shoulder charged them, would you call it? Shoulder charge.
Yeah, Hinteregger's winded by that one. Yeah, I suppose the next match at the moment, forgetting all about that one, and they're at home to Israel. But it's all about this game. For that game against Israel to be a proper meaningful match for Scotland, they must not lose this game this evening. Almost 17 in, nothing each. It is Austria in possession, and down the line on this near side, it's going to eventually come back to the feet of Ilsanker. Rolls it into Dragovic, just outside the centre circle, inside his own half, out to Alaba, and then back the way to Martin Hinteregger. Alaba on the turn, rolls it all the way back to his goalkeeper. David Alaba playing for the 88th time for his country this evening. He's left Bayern Munich after a glittering spell in Bavaria. And here comes Leimer again, flicking it with the outside of the boot down the right-hand side along the ground, looking for Arnautovic. Robertson shuts the door and clears. Picked up again by Alaba wide in the left. It's an early cross ball. Arnautovic heads it down. Was he on or offside there? Well, it's play on, so he's onside, and he had acres of room, and he might be wishing he's not headed that at goal itself, or at least potentially have taken a touch. As the Scots come down the right-hand side with O'Donnell. Big switch from Robertson it was. O'Donnell's cross comes in. Bachmann makes the challenge on Dykes, who then floors the goalkeeper. And Lyndon Dykes is probably, if he's not going to get booked now, he's probably one of those away from receiving a yellow and receiving a suspension for the Israel game next month.
Yeah, he's not far away. I mean, if he goes for a yellow card, then you wouldn't be surprised. We're hoping that he doesn't. That's his second really strong challenge, and I know we're okay with it, but I don't think the Austrian players are.
No, they're surrounding the ref.
No, and he was never getting the ball there. Well, he was just trying to leave a mark on the goalkeeper.
He's avoided one.
Yeah, he's lucky, I think.
Aye.
I think he's lucky to get away with that. I mean, I love the way he plays, his enthusiasm and his aggression, but at times you just got to be maybe just a little bit smarter. I think he was lucky to get away with that.
The cross changed trajectory because it took a little deflection on its way in, and Dykes, well, Daniel Bachmann came to collect, and it looked like a simple ball for the goalkeeper. And Dykes crashed into him, having got himself away from Dragovic. Free kick Austria, as good as a goal kick here, and they're all asking why Lyndon Dykes wasn't yellow carded there. He wasn't, and it remains Austria 0, Scotland 0 on 19 minutes in Vienna. Big switch out to Alaba for the home team as he drives forward, rolling it to his left for Schwab. Back it comes to Alaba. He crosses into the near post. Comfortable for Craig Gordon. Austria 0, Scotland 0.
He's certainly getting forward, isn't he? Alaba down that left-hand side, but he's leaving huge gaps behind him, and he's not particularly fussy about getting back either.
Stephen O'Donnell's taken advantage of that twice already. Both great switches of play from Andy Robertson. He just needs to get a little bit better quality on the ball into the box to give Scotland a chance to win in front.
Here comes McGregor rolling it into the feet of Dykes, up against Hinteregger. Back comes Alaba. It's better defending from Alaba, who clears with the left foot into touch for a throw into Scotland over on the far side on 20 goalless minutes. 9 Bundesliga titles, 2 Champions League titles. Alaba won at Bayern Munich, and he's not exactly downgraded with his move to the Spanish capital in the summer, as Tierney rolls it all the way back to Craig Gordon. 20 in, Willie. How are you sitting? Comfortably?
I'm enjoying it. I've got my seatbelt strapped because it's been that type of game. It's flowed really well. It's been high tempo. It's went from one side to the other. I think we've created the best chance with the Dykes header. A little bit unfortunate, maybe not to find the back of the net. And it's so open. I'm really surprised that there's that much room in the game. You know, it's not in any way a slow tempo at all. They're not trying to control the ball and the tempo they play in the midfield. Everything is forward thinking from the home side, and Scotland, when they get a chance too, are prepared to get themselves forward. So I'm really enjoying it.
Still goalless at the Park in Copenhagen. Denmark 0, Israel 0, as it is in Vienna, and it's the Austrians in possession. Leimer, it's a right foot ball to the edge of the box. It comes off Hendry's shin really, and Craig Gordon goes down and snuffs it out at the feet of the striker, who was rampaging into the box. It was Baumgartner, as Gilmer picks up and finds McGregor in 21 minutes. No goals as yet. It's now with Tierney. Low ball out to Robertson on the left in the Austrian half. Looks up, left foot ball, looking for Dykes. Takes it down well at the edge of the area and rolls it back to Shea Adams, trying to free himself a little bit of space against Grilic. Rolls it to the right, and then Adams fouls his man just in the edge of the box, and Shea Adams has been yellow carded for that challenge, and the Austrian supporters enjoyed that. The Bulgarian referee was in little doubt that he's let Lyndon Dykes off with 2, both of which other referees might have booked him, and he's booked Adams for this one.
Liam, Lyndon Dykes has got Adams booked there. Seriously, the referee's had it in his mind that maybe Scotland is starting to be a wee bit too physical, and I think he's suffered because of that.
Well, we're just waiting to see a replay of it. We're not seeing what's happening on the pitch at the moment. We're getting a replay on the telly. Yeah, there's nothing
Absolutely
in there.
nothing. The referee's had it in his mind that he wants to book somebody. I think he's realised he's made a mistake with Lyndon Dykes, and Adams has suffered because of that.
Well, he's not one of the ones who, if booked, would miss the next match. Gilmer out to the right, it's up towards Adams, up against Hinteregger again, rolls it into midfield for Gilmer. First time's a lovely ball. Chance here for the Scots down the right with O'Donnell. Dykes in the middle, it's a dink ball towards McGinn. It's poor again from Stephen O'Donnell. His little chip has gone straight onto the head there of the Austrian Ilsanker, who heads it back to his goalkeeper. Now O'Donnell's out of position and Austria are countering down the left-hand side. A chance for Schaub here. Really good defending by Jack Hendry to get between the man and the ball, but it is at the expense of Austria's first corner, indeed the first corner of this match, which comes 23 minutes into it. Match day 6, Group F for World Cup qualifying in these UEFA qualifiers, and Scotland are under pressure from a situation that they should have done a lot better from up the other end of the park.
They should have, you know. Stephen O'Donnell's use of the ball's been disappointing, but I'll tell you what, you know, his positive runs have really caused them issues. I think Jack Henry's going to have to get used to playing in that full-back position, by the way, if O'Donnell keeps going forward, because Alaba is not interested in getting back.
No, but Stephen's got to take advantage, isn't he?
Yeah, here comes the corner. It's an outswinger. Hanley does well, heads it away around about the penalty spot. Robertson gives chase out in the near side, closes it down, and it goes out for an Austrian throw-in. That was knocked forward there by Trimmel. Quick throw-in taken to Trimmel, who sweeps it to the left of the centre circle for Grilic. It's the Hoffenheim playmaker with a switch out to this near side, and he puts it straight into touch himself. Misunderstanding there with Konrad Leimer, and Franco Foda, the Austria manager down there, he's under some serious pressure, and he may well be losing his job if Austria don't win this game tonight. And it's certainly, if they lose it, that looks to be the most likely outcome. 24 in Austria 0, Scotland 0. It's a throw-in from Robertson into feet of McGinn, back to Robertson. Big switch again, it's up into the air. Eventually it drops down to O'Donnell under pressure from Alaba. Knocks it forward to McGregor, who is taken right out of the game. Hinteregger, and he will be the second yellow card of this one. One apiece on that count. 0-0 on the scoreline, and he's left his mark on Callum McGregor as the big Eintracht Frankfurt defender.
It's a bad one, isn't it? You know, he's nowhere near the ball. He's intent on taking Callum McGregor out of the game.
I'll tell you what, if Callum's got his foot on the ground there, when he hits him, it's a broken leg. There's no doubt about that. I think he's left the ground as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, it's a terrible tackle.
Yellow for Hinteregger. A regular for years at Salzburg. And he came up against Callum McGregor in the Europa League in 2014.
How can you compare yellow cards that we've just seen there?
Well,
I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Both the same punishment.
Do you see that as a red? Decision. Do you think that's a red?
I think that's, yeah. I mean, he's really lucky, Liam, that his feet were off the ground.
Well, thankfully he's okay, Callum McGregor, and it's probably the fact he's so nimble that helped him avoid any kind of serious injury there. 25.5 on the clock in Vienna. It's Austria 0, Scotland 0. Alaba trying to make inroads down the far side. Henry's there though. Forward to Gilmore. Crosses the halfway line. Little ball for McGinn. Does well. Good strong play by John McGinn. Holds off the first challenge. A good sliding recovery there, I think, from Grilic. Austria giving it away constantly though, and that can only be encouraging for Steve Clarke. Can Scotland take advantage of sluggish play? Forward to McGinn. He's in the box. The man who equalised against the Austrians, holding off the defender, rolling it back to Adams, up against Hinteregger. Down goes Adams in the box. No penalty, and Austria clear their lines. And it was Hinteregger who was booked a moment ago for the challenge on McGregor, who was involved with Shea Adams in the penalty area. As it comes to McGregor, and then back to Jack Henry, who goes back into his own half. The Scots have a shout for a penalty there. Would have been soft, Willie.
Oh, I don't think it was, no. In fact, I was maybe waiting for the referee to book Adams for going down.
Yeah, it was a bit spectacular, wasn't it?
Didn't look as though there was any contact. He just threw his legs up in the air and went to ground. That's how I saw it. We might see a replay that will tell us it's different. He's maybe stretching for the ball. Let's let him off with that.
Well, he's gone down like a starfish there, hasn't he?
There's no contact.
The arms and the legs were all
down like a starfish. That old footballing term.
The thing is, though, the thing is, we joke, we laugh, but you know, the referee could give him a second yellow.
VAR's checking it now. You'd imagine it'll get waved away
for a second yellow.
I just imagine them in the VAR box there saying, "No, went down like a starfish."
Yeah. I'm not sure I've used it before, Craig. I'm not sure it'll come out again. But yeah, they're still checking it. And I hope they don't say to the ref, you might want to have another look at this dive here potentially. I hope that's not what happens. Anyway, the cameras have zoned in. He's done the TV, intimating with the TV, and now where's he going? Where's he? Yes, he's going to go and have a look at it in pitch side. Now, I hope he doesn't view this as simulation, because Adams has already been booked.
Oh, no, he's holding
there's a hold
jersey
there. This is going to be interesting. Hinteregger has got a fistful of Shea Adams' jersey. Hinteregger was booked a moment ago as well. This is a big decision coming for the Bulgarian referee, and potentially for Scotland. He's ready to tell us what's happening. Penalty!
Wow.
Scotland have a penalty in Vienna after the VAR check. Now, does he book Hinteregger again? It doesn't look like it, but Scotland have a penalty, and Lyndon Dykes has the ball in his hands. Wow.
I mean, it looked as though,
what do you say?
Well, it looked as though Dykes went down.
Throwing his
legs.
Saw that different angle.
There is a tug in his shoulder.
Yeah,
there is contact, and the referee's seen it from a different angle.
There you go. It's the camera angle we got that the referee saw was not one that we saw just a moment ago. That was a different angle, and he quite clearly had Adams' jersey in his hands. Now, this is a huge moment for Scotland in this Group F qualifying campaign. If Scotland have any designs of making it to the Qatar finals next winter, they have to get something from Vienna tonight. Denmark have just gone 1-0 up on Israel in Copenhagen. If Dykes can convert this penalty, this is a magnificent couple of minutes for the Scots in this group. Daniel Bachmann clapping his hands, rubbing his gloves together. The Bulgarian referee's just about ready. The Austrian supporters booing, whistling, trying to put off Dykes, who got the winner against Moldova on Saturday. Does he have another huge moment in him here? Here comes Dykes, right-footed, goal! Dykes scores in Vienna, right through Bachmann.
Wow.
As the Aussie-born striker points to the heavens, Scotland have a massive goal in Austria, in the Ernst Happel, where it is Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Well, Bachmann should save that, Willie.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not a great penalty, but listen, delighted that maybe the luck's turning ever so slightly.
I think we take it. You know, the VAR, there is a grip on Shea Adams' jersey there, and I think the referee has got it right looking at this angle. But it's the way Adams went down, isn't it? And it's just straight at the goalkeeper. You know, he could kick it away, actually. He's dived to his right-hand side that goes under his body, goes through that V shape between his legs and his arms as he tries to get down. But it's almost straight at the goalkeeper, and he should do better.
Dykes' second goal of the campaign, his fourth all told for Scotland. And that is potentially a massive say that Scotland's number 9 has had. And now, Craig Levein, they've got something to hold on to, and generally that is a Steve Clarke speciality. Is the long ball for Arnautovic comes through. It's a poor touch. I think the flag has gone up belatedly. 31 in, but the Scots have a 1-0 lead, and they can play the game in many ways how they want to play it now, with Austria seeing lots of the ball, but a chance to counter.
Absolutely, but I would hate to think, Liam, that they just sat back. You know, because I think we look dangerous on the counter-attack, and I would hate to give that up by maybe dropping one of the strikers further back. I think the way the systems are set up here, it's really interesting, because Scotland are playing with 2 up top. The Austrians are advancing their fullbacks, so effectively it's man for man all of the time that Scotland, and if Scotland can make that first pass.
2 goals in 3 minutes for Denmark. Poulsen got the first, and Simon Kjær got the second. 2 goals in 3 minutes. Denmark 2, Israel 0. And that is a good result for Scotland as well. They need the Danes just to run away with the group now. And the as it stands table as the Scots back into second, but there's a long way to go as Henry turns it back to O'Donnell, who clears on 32 minutes up towards the goal scorer, out-jumped by Dragovic. Gilmer picks up against Grilic over on the far side. Gilmer wins the throw-in as well. It's really good play by Billy Gilmore. You're always confident he's going to find a teammate or do something that's going to get the Scots up the park every single time he's in possession.
Yeah, I mean that there was really clever because he was getting shown down into a really tight area, and he's managed to spin round, play it off his opponent, and get us a throw in the last third. And you never know, maybe we get a corner, a free kick or something, and we can advance from there.
Adams trying to win the corner of Hinteregger, but it's a goal kick only to the Austrians. The Scots have enjoyed success in their last few visits to take on the Austrians. You can hear some of the Scotland supporters in the stadium. There's no official away fans at any of the grounds this month. They're going to, I think, look to get the away fans back for the matches next month, as Austria come forward, and Craig Gordon was encouraged by Jack Hendry to come. He didn't, and Gordon eventually clears because his former Celtic teammate Hendry had left it to him. And it is away, and Scotland get back into their positions as Austria come against the big switch from Trimmel to Alaba on the left-hand side. 33.5 on the clock. In comes the ball, drops towards the 6-yard line. Scotland struggling to get this out. Darnautovic to the edge of the penalty area, and it's blasted well wide by Grilic with the right foot past the left-hand post, and it stays Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Yeah, I mean, we've got plenty of bodies back there, haven't we, to put pressure on Grilic, and he just doesn't catch it properly. It's set up well for him just outside the box, and he takes the right foot, but he puts it well wide. Craig Gordon can see it all the way, and plenty of bodies in front of him too. I'm just amazed at how open this game is, though, Craig. I mean, it's just rattling from one end to the other.
Well, the Austrians have set the tone by the way they're shaping up, Willie.
Yeah.
We're going man for man at the back almost all the time.
Yep.
It gives Scotland that encouragement. If they can make that first pass in midfield and then find the strikers and get support from McGinn.
Yeah, here goes McGinn.
Position.
He's at the edge of the box. He shoots. It's wide with a left foot effort past the right-hand post. We know he's capable from there. The Scotland midfielder, Steve Clarke's best goal scorer since he took the reins, as we head towards the final 10 minutes of the first half. The local director's already looking at the substitutes for Austria, who aren't in a good place right now mentally, and they trail Scotland by a goal to nothing. But if the match director's already looking at the substitutes, you can clearly feel just with that act that they and the supporters think that Franco Foda picked the wrong team tonight.
I don't think it's been a good performance from them. It's been entertaining, but they look really vulnerable at the back, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Wide open, and with the two up top and John McGinn, you know, doing a real good job in supporting as well. You know, we've always looked a threat going forward, and in fact, you know, it was looking like if anybody was going to score, it was going to be us. I don't think they've had too much in terms of real opportunities against us.
They've had a lot of crosses, Willie,
yeah.
and all credit to the centre-backs and yeah, so generally the centre-backs, they've headed them all clear, haven't they? With half a dozen crosses.
Poor ball by Robertson. McGinn had done a brilliant job as well, and suddenly Scotland are under pressure. Well recovered by Robertson, though, as he managed to smash into the challenge ahead of Baumgartner, and it drops out to O'Donnell wide on the right. Long right-footed ball forward there from the fullback. Couldn't find Adams. One in the air there by the Austrians. This time it was Ilsanker. He picks it up again left of the centre circle. Out to the left-hand side. And the Austrians have it. It's a dink ball towards Arnautovic. Little back heel goes straight to Tierney, and he can pass it back to Gordon, who clears with the right foot. So good with the ball into feet these days, Craig Gordon, as Austria come forward again. Another good challenge at the edge of the box. And Callum McGregor dances away from one. He's now up against Alaba. He's across the halfway, rolls it to Dykes, who was coming back from an offside position, so it didn't run for the ball. And Adams obviously wasn't on the same wavelength, and it comes back to Daniel Bachmann. But it is Austria 0, Scotland 1 in Vienna. A Lyndon Dykes penalty. 36.5 on the clock. The goal was timed in the half hour after it was given after a VAR check by the Dutch VARs, and the Bulgarian referee had a look at it as well. As Austria come down the right-hand side, and it's into the feet of Louis Schwab, into the penalty area. Arnautovic with a touch across the face of goal, but I think there might be a flag on the near side. We can't actually see it. We can now, as the camera pans on to the linesman, and it will be a free kick to Scotland. Another little nervy moment. You would imagine there will be plenty more little nervy moments to come between now and full time. Scotland leading though by 1-0.
Yeah, it was definitely offside, wasn't he? You know, in good defending, you know, holding the line high, you know, and inviting the striker to make the run forward. And I think the frustrating thing is for the players is that the assistant doesn't put the flag up and just, make the decision there and then. I know that they've been told to allow it to go on, but, it wasn't going to end up in the back of the net, that opportunity. And I think the Scotland defenders were just a little bit frustrated that it didn't go up a little bit quicker.
Keep saying it, Willie. Someone's going to pick up a serious injury because of that rule one of these days.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's uncertainty in the minds of players whether to play on or whether to stop.
Yeah, a nonsense rule which, if they're changing things like away goal rules and things like that, you can imagine that wouldn't be too difficult to tweak, as the offside flag is up against John McGinn this time down this near side. 7 to the break. 1-0 Scotland.
Liam, that's 5 or 6 times Arnautovic has made that run in behind the Scotland defence, and so far we've covered it, and also there's been a few offside, but it's been very close.
Yep.
We just have to be very careful that we mistime that once, and he's such a lethal finisher.
I think the supporters will turn the longer this goes on with Austria losing, and the pressure will pile onto them. Make no mistake, Scotland win this. This is a serious wounding of their main rivals for second spot in this group, which would lead to a playoff. And it would be a one-legged semi and a one-legged final as per last autumn for the Euros. And that would be next March. A lot to do before then, as Alaba's pass is blocked by the referee unwittingly. And it will be an uncontested drop ball. 6 minutes from the break in Vienna. Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Can't afford to lose a goal now, Willie. No. I think this is a critical part of the match for me, is that if we can get to half-time and then the manager gets to get some words in, and then we can come back out in the second half refreshed and ready to go.
Austria have seen 60% of the ball. He comes back onto the halfway line with Dragovic, another experienced campaigner, former Leverkusen player, just left them for Red Star in Serbia, which is where his heritage is. As Tierney clears it with the left boot across the halfway, Adams wins the header. Adams and Dykes are winning plenty in the air. Dykes in particular wins just about everything. And it's Austrian possession down the right-hand side. Goes all the way through to Kieran Tierney, though, and he's under no pressure here as we tick into the final 5 minutes of the first half in Vienna here on Sports Sound, on BBC Radio Scotland, on digital and online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Match day 6, Group F, World Cup qualifying. It's Scotland in possession with McGinn. Scotland with a 1-0 lead, and John McGinn coming down this near side. Hinteregger stuck with him though and takes a quick throw in as it goes over the line. Might be made to pay for that. They're giving it away as McGregor finds Gilmore. Now it's with Hendry midway inside his own half, rolling it to Billy Gilmore. Out to O'Donnell on the far side. He elects to chip it all the way back to Craig Gordon, who's now come a long way out of his box, under pressure from Arnautovic, and needs to stab it out for a throw-in. Well, quite how Scotland got themselves into a fankle there's anyone's guess.
I don't know why O'Donnell plays it back in the first place. I think most of his touches have been thinking about the pass forward, and he decides to play it back to Craig Gordon, and it's not even a particularly good pass back, is it?
There's not enough pace in the ball. That could have been trouble.
Yeah, and you don't want to give Austria any kind of encouragement. It's the Austrians coming forward looking for an equaliser here. In comes the cross. Arnautovic couldn't get enough on the header, drops out to this near side. Down goes McGinn. That's brilliant play from John McGinn to win the free kick up against Trimmel inside his box, and that takes the pressure right off his defenders, right off his goalkeeper, as Andreas Skov Olsen makes it Denmark 3, Israel 0. And the Israelis getting a taste of their own medicine, having dished that kind of treatment out to Austria in Haifa on Saturday night, as we see replays again of the challenge by Hinteregger and Adams that led to the eventual award of a penalty, which was dispatched by Lyndon Dykes, and that is why Scotland lead in Vienna by 1-0.
That's a definite penalty when you see it from the right angle, isn't it? And I think Dykes, he just goes for power as well, doesn't he? Right down the throat. Not an awful lot of subtlety, but as we always say, it's a good penalty because it ended up in the back of the net.
Free kick has been awarded to Scotland over on this near side. This is a chance to load the box, 3 minutes shy of half-time. Shea Adams has taken a bang in the face. And there's a chance for Gilmore and Robertson to come up with something. Looking a little bit dazed and confused as the Southampton striker. And him and Dykes have worked brilliantly this evening up there together as he was challenged. He's taken a little, I think, elbow in the face from Dragovic. Free kick will be taken. I think it's maybe just the hand that's caught him. The free kick was taken, but we didn't see it. We were in the replay of the incident, and they decided not to show us the free kick. Never mind, didn't look particularly exciting going by where they picked it up. Scotland giving the ball away, and Austria have a free kick of their own over on that far side. 2 minutes to play in this first half. Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Yeah, I think I mentioned at this point as well, there was a cross came in the box just 2 or 3 minutes ago, and again it was Kieran Tierney who we were critical of at the back post in a match just last week, and he's won every header that's come into the box at the back post area, and that's really good defending from him.
Here come Austria, and we've got space down the left. O'Donnell's out of position. Chance perhaps for Baumgartner to attack the box, rolls it to the edge of it. Scotland need to keep the door closed, and there's a good block there as it pops back out the way. Tail Sanker out to the left. Alaba crosses in, headed away by Hendry. 90 seconds of the first half remaining, or at least the 45 minutes. Here come the Austrians again. The cross from Grilic, headed away by Robertson. Headed back into the box, headed away by Robertson again. And then helped on its way by Dykes out to this near side for Shea Adams, who's now on it. He's taken it down well, rolls it in field to McGregor. Stabs it to Gilmour. Now Scotland can attack Austria on the counter. Gilmour coming forward, slipping it towards Dykes. Couldn't find him though. And that's going to be picked up on the near side by Christopher Trimmel. Final minute of the first half. Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Yeah, if Dykes keeps going, it's a fantastic pass by Gilmour. I think he's thought that Billy Gilmour, because he wasn't looking at him, didn't see his run. But Billy's played a brilliant reverse ball, and if he just continues with his run, it's right in his path.
Yeah, I think Gilmour was telling Lyndon Dykes exactly that, Craig. It's the Austrians here with Leimer attacking in the final third now. Leimer at the left angle of the box, rolls it out wide left for Alaba, who crosses into the penalty area, away off the knee of Jack Hendry. Only as far as Ilsanker, who turns it to the left-hand side. There for Louis Schwab of Cologne. It's now the edge of the box again. Leimer rolling it towards Arnautovic, nicked away by Tierney. Final few seconds of the 45 minutes. There was that VAR check, so there'll be a good couple of minutes added on at the end of this first half, as Alaba picks up wide in the left of the Scottish box. Can Scotland hold firm? It's a decent delivery by Alaba into the corridor, cleared by Hendry, and out and behind for an Austrian corner as we go into first half stoppage time.
Right, it's good position, I think, from Jack Henry, isn't it?
3 minutes added.
Near post, and make sure that Alaba corner, doesn't cause any damage.
Outswinger with the left boot from Austria's skipper Alaba on that left-hand side as they attack the goal to the right as we watch this. Loads of movement in the box. In comes the corner. It's headed away to the edge of the box. It drops though for Arnautovic. Just turns it onto his left foot, then rolls it back the way. And it will be Schwab out to that left-hand side for Alaba, up against McGinn. His cross is cut out at source by John McGinn. Schwab keeps it alive, rolls it to Alaba, back to Louis Schwab outside of the boot, flicks it into the box. Way too close to Craig Gordon, who will take them all night long. Austria 0, Scotland 1. We played almost 1 minute of the 3 that were added on by the Bulgarian referee.
I think the way they're playing is suiting us as well. Everything is pretty rushed, everything's direct, loads of crosses into the box, but we've been supreme in the box in terms of winning it in there.
The 3 centre-backs have been excellent so far, really have been. They've defended properly, they've been on their toes, they've dealt with all different types of crosses and corners and free kicks, so far so good.
Austria come forward though. It's a long ball up to Baumgartner. He's touched it back the way to Leimer, trying to free himself of Hendry. Rolls it to the right here for Trimmel, taking it into his stride, knocks it across the face of goal, up off the head of Tierney. There's a man down. O'Donnell clears. The Austrians are howling for a penalty of their own. Will it be looked back at by the referee? It's still Austria. It's Leimer. Shot is charged down, and then the effort towards goal goes wide with Craig Gordon rooted. They're all surrounding the referee. The Austrians, after that, they clearly feel they should have had a penalty.
I think it hit O'Donnell's arm, Liam. But I think it also hit their player's arm as well. There.
It did, yeah. And O'Donnell slid in to make the block. Does this go to VAR? You would imagine it will. It's being contested as they have a look back at O'Donnell hauling Baumgartner to the ground. At least that's what they're claiming for now. Whether the Well, I'm not sure they are checking it, which is a massive relief for Scotland. It stays 1-0 to the visitors, who are desperately trying to hold on to their lead until the break here.
I think it was a sign of things to come in the second half as well. I think we need to take some pressure off by getting some play up in their half for a change, just to take some relief out. There's some pressure away from the defenders.
Penalty, Willie?
I think we're fortunate there, because not only does O'Donnell have his arm up over the shoulder, brings the player to the ground, but it hits his arm as well. It's in an unnatural position. Very fortunate in my book.
And again, we are not able to see the incident that's left one of the Scotland players poleaxed on the deck, because they were showing replays of the penalty appeal. But Limer's being called to the referee, still, I think, probably pontificating about the lack of a penalty from a moment ago. I'm not sure who it was that has forced one of the Scottish players. It's Kieran Tierney, he's on the deck, and he's taken a bang to the head, I think, by the looks of it, although he's kind of feeling his back as well.
Good play by Tierney, just taking a bit of the sting out of it.
Deflates the Austrians a little bit before the break. We played the 3 minutes, 3.5 have been added. 1-0 Scotland as Adams chases, and Adams has it inside the box. Well, he got caught in two minds there as he rolled under his feet, setting himself to either shoot or play it across the face of goal. In the end, he did neither, and it nicked off him as the Bulgarian referee sounds the half-time whistle. What a chance it was for Adams right at the end of the half there, with two waiting for a pullback.
Yeah, I don't know, he just hesitated, didn't he? And in those moments, Liam, the window of opportunity opens for a fraction of a second. He had to play that ball earlier, he missed his chance, and the defender won the ball back off him.
They are still going on at the referee, who's talking to Hinteregger, who's probably annoyed that he's had a penalty given against him with a VAR check, yet they didn't even check that one right before the interval. As Stephen Naismith getting involved with a couple of the Austrian players as the respective teams head up the tunnel for the half-time interval. But it's Lyndon Dykes' penalty, awarded after a VAR check. Hinteregger adjudged to have brought Shea Adams to the ground. He certainly had a fistful of the Scotland striker's shirt, and the Bulgarian referee consulted with the Dutch VAR team before checking it back himself on the pitch side monitor. And Lyndon Dykes stepped up. It wasn't a great penalty, and another day Bachmann saves that, no problem. But it squirmed underneath him down the centre of the goal. And that is all that matters. In a game Scotland have more than held their own, but the Austrians have shown in spells that it could well be a long second half in Vienna as the Scots try and protect that lead. But certainly plenty to be positive about, and nothing to suggest the Scots can't score again in the Ernst Happel in the second 45. After the first 45, it's Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Scotland in the World Cup qualifiers.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland. This Sporting Life with Tom English.
A podcast of interviews with compelling characters from the world of sport.
Scott Brown is such a leader of this football club.
I still believe that I could push myself and have another couple of seasons, so I came up to sunny Aberdeen and got a 2-year deal.
Hayley Doyle, the most decorated Scottish athlete in history.
You're never ever going to experience this again. Yeah. You're going to have this home Commonwealth Games, a Scottish crowd. It was just enjoy it.
Hear these conversations and many more.
Here comes Paul Lambert again!
I was brought up in an era where if the boots weren't clean, they made sure you knew about it. You became battle hardened.
Subscribe now by searching for This Sporting Life on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound live on BBC Radio Scotland. Half-time in Vienna. Austria 0, Scotland 1. In the group, it's Faroe Islands 0, Moldova 0. And thankfully, Denmark are doing their bit this evening at the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen. It's 3-0 for the Danes. Poulsen, Kier and Skov Ulsen were the goals for the Danes, who are heading to win 6 out of 6 and have still yet to concede a goal in the group. So it's going pretty well for Scotland, albeit there are still 45 no doubt nerve-shredding minutes to go in Vienna. Dodsey, what have you made of that first 45?
Try to get my breath, Rich. It's been fast, furious. Not the game I expected, like the boys in commentary were mentioning. It really is going our way as well, isn't it? Let's cut to the chase. They are getting their full-backs forward, and I thought first 5 minutes they could really hurt us down the left-hand side, especially Alaba. put a few really good crosses in the box, but defenders stood tall, you know, and then we looked as if we could catch them in the counter-attack. We mentioned that before the game, quite happy with that. And then we get the penalty, which you could see clearly in the replay it looked as if he'd thrown himself. It looked as if later on in the action, but when you trace it back, he's got a hold of his shirt, and Hinteregger's mental for pulling his shirt, especially after being booked. And a few people
he's lucky, isn't he?
To me. Yes,
yeah,
because there's no attempt to play the ball.
None.
There's not. So he's lucky he's not got a second yellow. That would have been a double bonus. McGinn's been an absolute bull, hasn't he? He's just driving us forward. He's all over the place, breaking things up, driving us forward. Then we got away with the other one, and with Willie, when I don't think it was a penalty for catching the boy, but it landed on his arm and it's outstretched.
But both players have got their arms out. Doesn't the ball land almost between the two arms?
No, it hits O'Donnell on the arm.
Yeah, I think it's O'Donnell's
and the Austrian arm isn't there?
If it was there, it didn't hit the Austrian arm, but I thought it was O'Donnell's arm, and I thought we got away with one. Anyway, everything's going for us.
I know Liam said, the Austrians are going crazy because it hasn't gone to VAR. It will have gone to VAR. They'll have had a look, but they'll have decided that there wasn't enough in it to even refer it to the referee.
Yeah, they've looked at it, of course. But
I'm glad they were looking at it. I'm glad they were looking at it with my spectacles and not yours and Willie's. And Tom's.
Well, we do worry. We're a worrying nation, and we should be, because I'm worried about that left-hand side, because Gilmour's got to get out sometimes when Alaba gets high up the pitch, and then if he gets further up the pitch, it's maybe going to be a centre-half and O'Donnell. But there's times when we stand off him and let him deliver, and our centre-halves have handled it, absolutely no doubt, but you're waiting for something to land pinpoint, and we've got to look after that, or we could lose a goal from that side. Listen, it's all going away because Denmark doing the business, as you said, and 45 minutes to Tom English gets his wish, and we actually win the game, which would be a fantastic result.
Yeah, there's been some real threats in that Austrian team, but Scotland have defended very well, Billy, you have to say, throughout the course of the 45. I think as Craig said, they've won virtually every single ball that has been played into the box. And while strikers thrive on the confidence of scoring goals, you've got to imagine central defenders thrive on winning balls like that, and just kind of get that sense, that feeling that doesn't matter what they throw at us, we're going to win this ball in the air.
It's just the Scottish bit in me where I'm fearful that one lands in its target, and they've had a couple of headers but not really on target. We've been close to them, we've put them off, but I think that down that left, I'm really worried about that left hand side, because if Gilmour doesn't get out, Alaba, who is a talent, we know that from all the clubs he's played for, he's got great delivery, and I can't rely on the centre halves getting on the end of everyone. But so far they have done brilliantly well, Richard. You're right to point that out, but I've just got that wee bit of dread in me that we might just lose an opponent at one point, and they're really pushing towards the end of that half, aren't they? They stepped up the pace a little bit.
I mean, certainly they see that clearly as the out for them, which you naturally would if David Alaba is there, and part of it. It always seems to be a bit of a kind of famine or a feast with Stephen O'Donnell at international level, doesn't it?
I did mention it before the game. They had that pass back. I'm thinking, just open up and go the other way and show a bit of confidence. I've seen Stephen play, and he's a really good player when he's got the right mindset. But even with all the experience he has, he still gets this when he doesn't start a game well. Within a game, it's like if he starts well, you're thinking, he'll go on and have a top game, and that's good. But I think he should be over that with the experience he's gained all his career, to say, OK, if it's not going my way, I'll just stick at it and I'll turn it. But he seems to go the other way, and he looks nervous, and it's making me nervous at times. So I just hope he gets a hold of it second half, and a grip of it, talks to Gilmour in front of him and gets him out early, so we've got 2v2 and wide areas at times. Because that's the way you hurt. Craig will tell you, and Willie will tell you, the way you hurt. We're playing like a 5 at the back, but a 3-5-2. You hurt them if your full backs get forward against a 3-5-2, and that's what they're starting to do.
And just watching the replay of the penalty again, the conversion of the penalty, I think having seen the replay, we're all absolutely convinced it was a penalty for Scotland. I think the officials have clearly called that right. It wasn't a great penalty in the sense that he's just smashed it, hasn't he, Tom? Lyndon Dykes, low and hard, which is what actually paid dividends for Scotland in the end. But what also helped was Bachmann takes a big jump forward, actually. So if he'd saved it, it would have been a retake. I think there's no question, because he's way off his line by the time Lyndon hits it. But actually, because he takes that jump forward, he gets to the ball more quickly than he otherwise would.
He goes under him,
and he may well have stopped it.
Yeah. So that's fair enough. I mean, it was a poor penalty, if there is such a thing, when the ball ends up in the back of the net. I'm not sure.
Penalty.
But it's the whole penalty incident is interesting, because initially I thought, oh God, Adams is in trouble here for a dive. But just before, as you said, just before that is when the foul is committed, and it's a clear foul. And it's Hinteregger's birthday today. I don't think he gets the concept. He's given Scotland a present. He should be the other way around. So happy 29th, Martin, and thanks for the gift.
Yeah, and you shouldn't still be on the pitch, let's be honest.
He shouldn't be on the pitch, yeah. But that said, should Austria have had a penalty? I suspect that they should have, but hey-ho.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm still not seeing a definitive replay here, perhaps.
I'm not saying it's...
I don't think that's a penalty at all. I think both players have got their arms out, and I think the Austrian has made far too much of he may have been clipped slightly in the face. But I mean, that's not...
You don't think it hits O'Donnell's arm?
Well, I think it maybe does, Billy, but you know as well as I do that just because it's hit somebody's arm, it doesn't mean it's a penalty.
But I've done the referee's course at the start of the season, and they say if your arm's away from it, you run the risk.
But what was unnatural there? The two players have got their arms out trying to hold each other off, haven't they? Yeah, that's not unnatural. That's part of the flow of the game.
No, but his arm's away from his body. So he's running the risk. Listen, we're lucky. Yeah. You can see that it's hit his arm and it's away from his body.
I can understand why the officials have looked at that and thought, nah.
Good. I'm delighted.
Yeah, me too.
Who makes the decision, Richard?
Well, it'll be the
VAR boy, or is it a referee?
Well, the VAR guy has got to look, and then if he feels that there is a clear and obvious mistake being made by the referee, then he will refer it to him.
I'm astounded that they haven't called that one.
I'm not.
Oh, his arm's up first and foremost.
Really, I know his arm's up,
but it's into the face of the opposition player, and I know what you're going to say, and I know as well that you've got to raise your arm when you jump for a ball, but when you slide in as well, your arms go up. But that doesn't stop referees from giving penalties if it hits your hand, and it definitely hit his hand. And I thought his arm was up in a position that might hurt the opposition player. I know he made a meal of it, went down to ground, but I'm surprised. I'm not saying it's a definite penalty. What I'm saying is I'm surprised he didn't take another look at it.
Yeah.
No?
I agree with you, Willie. Yeah, I do. Yeah. So, you're not convinced, but hey, we'll debate this until the cows come home. It wasn't given.
It would appear that Austria have not been given a penalty, so I think you'll find I'm right.
Well, yeah, okay, all right. If you want to look at it like that,
no, Richard, that's the cows home, Richard.
It's been a Carlsberg calf, though.
Got away with that one. Absolutely, brilliant.
The results, the penalty we got, with the way Lyndon Dykes strikes it, it's in the net, with the hitting our player O'Donnell's arm. They don't get it. It's going well so far. Long may it continue.
The amount of space on the pitch is incredible. It's like there's almost 8 aside.
It's one of these games that you don't see very often, isn't it? It's almost like, let's just go out and play.
Well, none of the managers have got any control over what's going on.
It's just from one end to the other. There's no any tactics that I can see. The information is there, but there's no caution whatsoever.
But and the boys have been talking about it all the way through. Scotland winning the aerial battle hands down, considering what happened against Denmark.
Yeah,
this aerial performance by Scotland is absolutely terrific. It's not something we had. I know I don't want to tempt fate here, and I think there will be twists and turns in the second half because it looks like it's just a madcap game of football.
You can see why there are a lot of goals in games involving Austria.
You can, defensive. I mean, Hinteregger looks an absolute liability. Not just because of the penalty. I think he's defensively, he looks very, as a unit, Austria look very poor.
He actually can't run either, Tom. That's the problem. And if you play 2v2 at the back with somebody who can't run, you're in trouble.
What I was going to say is it would help the two centre backs if they had full backs.
Full backs, I knew you were going to. You two, you and Craig would like that. The two full backs going and just leaving you 2 for 2.
It would not have happened.
Some of the Scotland,
I can assure you.
Republic of Ireland continue to have a horrific campaign. They're 1-0 down at home to Serbia. That goal coming in the 20th minute to Milinkovic-Savic. Of course, we know all about Serbia of late. It's France 1, Finland 0. Denmark in our group, of course, as I mentioned, 3-0 up against Israel. Great news. And goalless Faroe Islands against Moldova. It is 3-1 Norway against Gibraltar. Netherlands 3-0 up against Turkey. They were 2-0 up very early on in that one. Russia 1-0 up against Malta. Croatia 1-0 up against Slovenia. Full details, of course, at the website bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Earlier, it was Azerbaijan 0, Portugal 3. Ronaldo, I was going to say didn't get a goal, but he wasn't playing. So even the great Ronaldo can't score.
First training session today at Man United, Rich. Was it there?
When he's not playing. Right, okay. Was that the lead in Sky Sports all day long?
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure it was. So likely to get his debut against Newcastle at the weekend.
Saying, yes.
Wow. Right, look. We're kind of in dreamland right now. It is, or it would be, one step towards the ultimate, but a long way to go. The under-21s drawing 1-1 in Turkey earlier on. Scotland, the senior team, leading 1-0 in Vienna against Austria. Live second half commentary. Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with Craig Levine, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
The 22nd World Cup finals will kick off on the 21st of November 2022 after Qatar on the Arabian Peninsula was awarded the tournament back in 2010. The final will be played on the 18th of December. It will be the first Muslim Arabic country to host the tournament, and it will be the last World Cup to take place with 32 nations. It's being increased ahead of the 2026 edition, up to 48 sides in the USA, Canada and Mexico for that tournament. Not many more coming from Europe, it has to be said, as FIFA try and open the World Cup to other continents. We already feel Europe get too many places. So that is how FIFA's resolving it. But that is for 2026. For 2022, Scotland are in a good position in Vienna as the second half kicks off. Austria in their red and white will go right to left. Scotland in all navy blue with red and white flashes. As Steve Clarke watches his team go left to right in the second half. Lyndon Dykes' penalty has them in front. No changes for either side. As the long ball from Bachmann goes right through to Tierney, who lumps it forward, and it's bouncing at the edge of the Austrian box and cleared there by Hinteregger. First time Arnautovic out to the far side. Robertson's the covering player, and he hooks it away from Leimer. Trimmel down the line there. Robertson's underneath it again, and he knocks it up high into the air and into touch, throw-in to the Austrians. The Scots have Gordon in goal. A back three of Hendry, Hanley and Tierney, O'Donnell and Robertson either side. McGinn, Gilmer and McGregor behind the goal scorer Dykes, and Adams, who was booked in that first half. Austria are as they were as well, with Bachmann in goal, Trimmel, Dragovic, Hinteregger and Alaba, Schaab, Grealish, Ilsanker, Leimer, Baumgartner and Arnautovic. It's back with Robertson infield to Gilmer to the left-hand side. It is rolled forward there by Robertson for McGregor, who goes to ground. Challenged by Leimer. The referee's happy with the challenge. Leimer pointing to the ball as Hanley wins it back on the halfway line as he slides and puts it up into the air and all the way through to Bachmann. You do worry, you always worry when you've been the beneficiary of a specific refereeing decision in a game. You do worry that things might get evened up at some point as the Austrians come forward, pinched back there by Billy Gilmer, though brilliantly from Baumgartner, as Scotland clear up this near side. It breaks the way of David Alaba, though. They began the game at a tremendous pace, started like a train, did Austria, then the mistakes crept in. I think it's an important period for Scotland to try and weather these opening few minutes of the second half and keep their lead intact. And it's Trimmel down the right-hand side into Leimer. He passes it back the way to that right-hand side, rolled into the penalty box. Robertson on the slide, puts it behind for an Austrian corner as we go into the 3rd minute of the second half with the Scots leading 1-0. Willie Miller, Craig Levein.
Yeah, well, they're building it up, and instead of just throwing it into the box now at the beginning of the second half, they're trying to be a little bit more cultured about their build-up in and around the box. I think we have dominated that, crosses into the box, and they're just trying to tweak their tactics a little bit.
3rd corner of the match. They've all been Austrian corners so far, and this one is going to be taken by Louis Schwab, the Cologne midfielder, out on that right-hand side. In-swinger with the left foot coming up. There is a chain of players round about the penalty spot who break away from each other now. In comes the corner, headed away well by Jack Hendry. Kept alive though by Trimmel, nodding it back out to the corner taker out on the right. Schwab getting down to the bylines. A chip ball's clever to the back post. There's nobody there in red and white though, and it breaks away of Robertson, who collects wide on the right of the Scottish box. Forward to Gilmour, first time to O'Donnell, who puts it straight out for a throw into Austria on this near side. Use of the ball has been so poor from Stephen O'Donnell this evening, as Austria pick up the throw, which will be taken by Alaba. It would have been interesting to see if Nathan Patterson made the trip, whether he would have stuck with him or whether the experience of O'Donnell would have been called upon for this one, and given the fact that he's played it quite close to the team that started at Wembley, where O'Donnell performed so well. As Trimmel plays it out to that right-hand side, it's a low ball to Arnautovic at the right angle of the box. Gilmour for company. It's all Austria in these opening exchanges in the second half. You would expect that. They're behind, and they're perhaps feeling a little bit aggrieved with what happened in that first 45, or 48 as it was. And it's the Austrians in possession over on the far side. Schwab with the chip ball along the 18-yard line. It's going to break on the switch to the left-hand side of the area for Alaba. Up against O'Donnell, bends it in. Gordon should have it. Gordon does have it. 49 in Austria 0, Scotland 1. Craig Levein.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that we have to be careful that we don't just accept the fact that we're, getting pushed back and not try to do anything about it. I think we need to make sure that we can steal the ball back, play a couple of safe passes to keep possession, and then go forward. We need to get some possession in the opponent's half, just to give the defenders some respite.
This Austria possession really won't surprise Steve Clarke. You would have expected them to come out the traps again at the start of the second half.
Yeah, I think you would have expected them to play like this in the first half, and they didn't. They played really direct, and whenever they got it into a wide area, they just swung it into the box, and they've changed a little bit. They're beginning to try and keep possession, and maybe in and around our box try to have a little bit more culture to it, rather than just throwing it in aimlessly. And whenever they've done that, nothing has came of it.
Oh, Adams gives it away. Arnautovic putting pressure on Hanley, sticking to his guns. Hanley goes down. Free kick Scotland. That'll do nicely on that occasion.
That's brilliant play. It really is. I mean, he's used his arms brilliantly as well when he's got a cross there and just managed to keep him out. Arnautovic out, and he's a strong lad, so it tells you Grant Hanley must have some strength as well.
Yeah, we spoke about Grant Hanley on Saturday night as well, and how he's resurrected his Scotland career, and is now a first pick. And Arnautovic left his knee on Hanley's shoulder there as well. That was cheeky. The assistant on the far side looked as though he clocked it, but there's to be no repercussions with the Austria striker. Knew exactly what he was doing there. Hanley with a wry smile though, as Adams plays it forward to McGinn. Good ball now to Dykes, just couldn't get it into his stride. He goes out off Dykes for a throw into Austria off Trimmel, who played it off him. Lyndon Dykes keeping up his good goal scoring run. He's got 5 and 5 for club and country now. Here's Limer, does well, he's away from Robertson. Early ball for Arnautovic, driving towards the edge of the Scotland box. He's been held up a little bit as he goes for goal. Ambitious effort blocked by O'Donnell. Scotland will be happy if he does that all night. Gilmour tries to pick it up, driving forward, out of play. It goes, and Gilmour's taken a sore one in the challenge there. He had 2 Austrians around him.
Oh, he's elbowed him in the face.
Was that Arnautovic who did it?
Yeah, I'm certain he's elbowed him in the face here.
Well, the referee's just making sure Gilmour's okay. He says he is. Let's have a look. We're having a look at a replay here. And Ilsanker initially, and then Gilmour's Arnautovic's shoulder, I think, that's caught Billy Gilmour rather than the elbow, with Scotland leading by 1-0 in Vienna.
He still knew exactly what he was doing, yeah.
Yeah, he's not even looking at the ball, and it's one of those in slow motion. You can see the jaw just jiggering from side to side. And it looks as though he's okay, Billy Gilmour, and there's to be, I don't think, any kind of follow-up with regards to Marko Arnautovic as David Alaba gets a stern talking to from the Bulgarian referee. 52 played, Austria 0, Scotland 1. Tempers frayed in Vienna.
Yeah, well, it's an important game. It's an important game for both sides, obviously, and you know, Scotland get the upper hand just now, so Austria aren't too happy with that. You've got to expect that they won't take this line down.
Austria down the right-hand side, low ball for Leimer. He's level with the edge of the D. Out to the far side for Trimmel. And back the way it drops for Hinteregger now, who picks up in the left, out to Alaba on the touchline, up against O'Donnell. O'Donnell trying to... I thought he was going to try and show him on the outside. Alaba comes in the inside in any case. Finds El Sanka, who crosses in. Headed away there by Robertson. The opposite skipper gets it again. Alaba out to the far side. That's a brilliant challenge by Kieran Tierney. Now the Austrian supporters aren't happy with that, but he just crashed into the challenger and Baumgartner. There was no question it was a good tackle, but it was out of play on the far side. But it's midway inside Austrian territory. 53 in, Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Just have to be careful that two strikers don't drop back and keep dropping back, so we've not got an out ball. I think they're getting deeper and deeper as this game's going on.
Yeah, it's still very early in the second half. Baumgartner rolling it out to the left for Alaba. Takes a couple of touches before playing it short to Arnautovic. Now back with Alaba. Level with the edge of the Scottish box, left-hand side of it. Forced back the way, then he turns it to Leimer, up against Hendry. He's inside the penalty area, it's all very tight. Comes to Alaba, chipped ball in, headed away by Hanley. Onto the chest for Leimer though. Level the 6-yard line, into the box he goes, onto the right foot quickly, looking for space to shoot, turns it to the edge of the area. And the shot there from El Sanka is blocked, side foot effort. Scotland trying to hit in the counter, Dykes couldn't quite play it down the line for Adams, I think it was. 54 played, Austria 0. Scotland won, but that was an intense period of pressure there from the hosts.
And O'Donnell has to keep on. We spoke about this in the first half earlier. He's got to keep him on his left side, isn't he? Yeah. Can't let him inside to get a shot at goal, because anything can happen in the crowded box. Could be deflection or anything, and they must keep him on the outside.
Yeah, keep him going towards that byline.
They're going to make a change, Austria. Remember, you can make 5 alterations at 3 separate intervals. Michael Grigoric, who plays for Augsburg in the Bundesliga, is going to come on. He's a striker, and he's scored 5 in 30 caps. As Austria come down the left-hand side with Baumgartner rolling it back to Alaba. Still 1-0 to the Scots. Just 10 minutes into the second half, though, as Baumgartner attacks O'Donnell. It's Alaba, his cross cut out by O'Donnell and behind for a corner. The Austrians unquestionably are cranking things up in Vienna.
Sorry, Willie. I mean, we need somebody needs to go down with an injury or something. Just to, seriously, just to take the sting out of the game and give us a little bit of rest. Yeah, go into the book and use all the tricks. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a midfielder off and a striker on for the Austrians. El Sanka off, and on comes Grigoric. Scored the winner against Northern Ireland in Belfast in last year's Nations League. Also scored in a Nations League win in Norway. He's only got the 1 goal so far for his club this season, but he scored against Macedonia at the Euros. As the yellow card, that's a penalty for the Austrians. The corner came in, there was a push inside the box. Now, did it happen before the corner was taken? Was it before the corner was taken? The referee is sorting it out now, but Grant Hanley's been yellow carded, and first and foremost, Hanley will now miss the Israel game, and they're going to check for a penalty here. Is this the moment for the Austrians? Willie, talk us through it.
You see that happening quite regularly. I mean, Hanley's got a hold of him, there's no doubt about that, but you see it happening so often. I don't think it's as clear cut as the
Checks
Scotland
over,
one.
corner, cleared. Well, he booked Hanley for the offence.
Yep.
No penalty, and that's the main thing right now. Hanley will miss Israel.
So what's the booking for then?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
I have no idea.
Unless that happened before the corner was taken.
No.
Yeah, that's right, because if the ball's not in play, it can't be a penalty.
It is the Austrians with Hinteregger rolling it back to Bachmann. Scotland getting away with one there, and that is the latest little nervy moment. This has been an uncomfortable opening 12 minutes or so for the Scots in the second half. Still they lead 1-0 though, and Denmark have put a 4th goal past Israel. Thomas Delaney has got it, so Denmark 4, Israel 0 in Copenhagen. 1-0 Scotland in Vienna. The Danes are doing their bit. As it stands, the Scots go second in the group, going into the double-header next month against the Israelis and the Faroes. Headed away by Hanley, and then helped on its way by Dykes. It's going to come all the way through, though, to Bachmann. 1-0 Scotland, 57.5 on the clock. This second half can't continue in this fashion.
Well, it can, but I think we'll regret it come the end of the game.
I think the difference in this half is that we're not a threat going forward.
No.
You know, and Austria definitely have control of the game. My worry would be if they stop just throwing the ball into the box and start to get little overloads in different areas, 1-2s around about the box, because when you're pinned back in there, you know, these little 1-2s can all of a sudden just open you up.
Here goes Alaba, left-hand side of the Scottish box, up against O'Donnell, stands the cross up, headed away by the impressive Hendry. You know, a good night against Moldova. He's been probably even better tonight, being asked a lot more questions. But still, it's Austria with this grip on this game. Not on the scoreline, though, and that's the crucial bit at the moment. When it's Trimmel on the right, inside channel. Rolling it back the way to Dragovic. Out wide right it comes. Little reverse ball, misunderstanding there between Schaub and Trimmel, and it eventually is seen behind for the goal kick by Billy Gilmour. Austria 0, Scotland 1, as the cameras train on Grant Hanley. That tells us we're going to get a replay of the incident between he and Hinteregger in the box.
And they'll be saying that's the same as the penalty that was given in the first half.
They will be saying it, but I don't think it was. Did you?
I don't think it is either. But that's what the opposition will be saying, for sure. I'll tell you something that's quite noticeable, Willie. We're defending 15 yards deeper than we did in the first half.
Well, without doubt. They're pinned back.
Well, we're getting pinned back, but at the same time, I think we're collapsing.
Yeah.
I think we're deliberately dropping back when we don't need to.
Oh, Bachmann's made a mess of it on the near side. Adams trying to nick it off him. Bachmann sliding and challenging Adams to redeem himself, which he does slightly, but it's O'Donnell who blasts it straight into the defender, and out it goes for a throw on this near side. But Bachmann's blushes are spared there. What on earth was going through the keeper's mind as we approach the hour mark with Scotland leading by 1-0?
Only he knows. You know, we're just waiting to see a replay of it, but you know, it looked as though there wasn't any danger. You know, as it hit a bit of the turf, as he slipped.
Yes, he stubbed his toe in the pitch.
Dear me, he's been nowhere near the ball though.
Well, he got away with it.
That's like one of my golf shots.
An hour gone. Austria 0, Scotland 1. Still a third of this qualifier to go, and Scotland are really struggling to get up the pitch here. Albeit, that little moment courtesy of Daniel Bachmann. But here come the Austrians. Grigoric, who's just on, out to the right-hand side. The cross is going to come in from that right flank, but it's right through to Craig Gordon. Harmless enough, with 3 Austrians waiting in the middle for a better ball. 61st minute of the game, Austria 0, Scotland 1, and again we're seeing a replay of Grant Hanley and Hinteregger. Well, the ball hadn't been played by Alaba from the corner, so there's your answer. So it's a good job. If Alaba took that corner a bit quicker, it's a penalty.
Yeah, because he's booked, isn't he? So the infringement has been seen by the referee, and he's adjudged it to be an infringement. So if the ball's in play, it is a pen.
Again to McGregor, who's barged to the deck. Scotland have a free kick midway inside Austrian territory, and Steve Clarke will be certainly hoping that they've weathered the Austrian storm now, and they can try and bed themselves into the second half, as they did eventually in the first half, though I think it didn't take them as long to get into the game in the first half as it has the second.
I think if they take 20 minutes with this free kick, that should work.
Well, Callum McGregor certainly taking his time, adjusting his socks. It's a good start.
We need to break their rhythm, Liam. They're in a way of playing just now where they're circulating the ball and putting constant pressure on us.
Robertson takes the free kick. He's trying to catch Bachmann out. It's over the bar, well over in the end by about a foot. It will be a goal kick, as Robertson tried to lob the keeper from the free kick. And now it's with Alaba on the left-hand side for the Austrians. When that happens, when it goes over the bar, it's a waste of an opportunity, I suppose, but finds the net, a whole different story.
Well, that's a chance you take, isn't it? You know, but at the same time, the way the game is, you want to try to hold on to the ball. You want to try to make them have to defend it rather than taking the chance. But you're right, if it goes sailing into the top corner, then he's a hero. But maybe a bit of villain in that occasion, because I think you need a little bit of respite because you've been under pressure for most of the second half.
Oh, Hendry's missed his first header of the night, and Austria come forward down the left-hand side. It's been played to Alaba. Space to work in, attacking the box. Left-hand side, and it comes, and it misses everyone. Somehow, as that zipped across the 6-yard box. How on earth nobody got a touch on that is anyone's guess. Fabulous ball in by Alaba. It was just behind Arnautovic, and it goes sailing behind for a goal kick on the reverse side of the goal, and it will stay Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Wow, I know. That's a great ball in, isn't it? Impossible to defend as well.
Nightmare, Willie, isn't it?
I know. Arnautovic is just, I think he's too early in. See if he just, checks his run there. I think he's onto it.
Now with McGinn. They missed a hatful of chances in Haifa as well. They in Scotland have had issues with converting chances in this campaign, as McGinn holds up on this near side. Challenge from Hinteregger stays in play as well. Everything going Austria's way at the moment as far as second balls are concerned, but Scotland pick it up with Gilmour. Rolls it back into the centre circle in a central area for Tierney, taking it out wide left. Rolling it out along the grass to Robertson, looking to return it to the underlapping Tierney. But the pass goes straight to Trimmel. Tierney slides in, and it's out for an Austrian throw-in over on that far side as we approach 64 minutes in the Ernst Happel, where it's Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Liam, I think that's the first time Robertson and Tierney have been in the last third, in the defensive third of Austria. First time in the match.
And Gilmour wins the throw-in off Alaba. He is just an incredible talent, Billy Gilmour. Just every time you watch him, the way he caresses the ball around, and as I said in the first half, you're always confident he's going to do something good with it.
And I think you need him on the ball now, don't you? This is when you're looking for that type of player, just to take the sting out of it. I mean, it looks as though we've kind of weathered that storm that was thrown at us in the early stages of the second half.
Long ball, which Adams chases. Dragovic gets his head onto it, and it's Hinteregger out to Alaba. Takes a touch, knocks it in field, and then Austria get it back. Grealish, and then out to the right-hand side for Trimmel. They've worked it out well there. Heading towards the final 25 minutes in Vienna. Scotland leading by 1-0. Lyndon Dykes penalty converted on the half hour. And it's Austria who've been bossing the ball in this second half so far, trying to hunt down the equaliser, and it's Alaba picking it up in the left inside channel. Little ball for Arnautovic, little flick cut out by Hanley. Again, Dykes and Adams are back in their almost defensive postings. The cross comes in, it's beaten everyone. The referee blows his whistle, and we don't know what he's given because the cameras on Alaba. Yeah, it's a push. It's been given Grigoric.
It was good play by O'Donnell as well. I mean, he managed to get his head on that at the back post and just make sure it continued on the path that it was on. I think we're too deep, and we're allowing the strikers to come off. But in the first half, when they came off, we were right up their backside and trying to win challenges.
As manager, how do you try and change that?
It's impossible.
Funnily, if we were talking about this earlier, when it comes to big derby matches, that big Edinburgh derby coming on Sunday, you can't do anything about that.
No, you shout at the players to get up, but you're wasting your breath a lot of the time.
Adams has put that in behind O'Donnell. It's gone straight to Alaba, who dinks it forward down the left-hand side. Arnautovic picks up left angle of the box. Hanley shepherding him, trying to keep Arnautovic at bay. The big striker's been forced out in this near side. Has to go all the way back to the halfway line, but everyone in navy blue is inside their own half here. That wasn't happening in the first 45. It's Limer picking it up in the left, up against Gilmour. Little nicked ball in field there for Grealish. Turns it towards the 18-yard line. Goes straight to O'Donnell, though, back to Gordon, and he clears it first time with the right foot as Hinteregger beats Adams in the jump. Now it's with Alaba, pinched off him by Jack Hendry. Now it's with John McGinn, who we barely mentioned in the second half. Need to get him in the ball, and now they have done. First time out wide left for Robertson. Dykes has made his run into the box. Robertson continues his run. He goes behind, and it's a free kick to Austria for a challenge by Robertson that the Bulgarian referee didn't particularly like. We're heading towards the final quarter in Vienna with the scoreline Austria 0, Scotland 1, and it's the Austrians coming forward with Grigoric. Out to the right-hand side, Baumgartner makes a run in towards the penalty area as well. A little dink ball forwards cut out though. Now it breaks to Gilmour, he slips it forward to Adams. Coolly done. Adams couldn't find Dykes though. The Scots have it back with Billy Gilmour though. Rolling it infield to McGregor, classily. Adams looking to get into the path of O'Donnell, who's onside, into the box, winds up the shot, saved by his former teammate Bachmann. And O'Donnell's left to rue, a huge opportunity, spurned by the Scots in a campaign of missed opportunities. Another one comes and goes. It's Austria 0, Scotland 1.
I think he's done really well there. I don't think you can point the finger at Stephen O'Donnell for missing a chance. He's hit the tip. I think it's a really good save, by the way. It's not too far away from Bachmann. It is a big chance. He could maybe have taken it on, but I don't think you can point the finger at him for that.
I wasn't going to. I think if it's a striker, maybe I'm a little bit more critical, but
there's Dykes cutting it back. Adams with the dummy. McGinn takes the touch and shoots high and wide, and it stays 1-0 Scotland. But they're getting up the pitch now.
Two fantastic opportunities in the space of a minute or so, and I mean, John McGinn, he's tried to bend it into the top corner, hasn't he? He's a wee bit unlucky. But let's go back to Stephen O'Donnell. What a brilliant run he made. He put himself in the position where he either has to score or miss. And for me, he's got into that situation. He's a defender mainly, but he's actually hit the target low into the far corner, which a lot of strikers would have done.
Yeah.
And the goalkeeper's made a fantastic save.
I think so. I think it's more about what Bachmann does rather than O'Donnell, because he's been up and down that line. He's been under pressure for most of the second half. He's had to defend way deep. He's got himself on. It's great build-up play, by the way, for Scotland, and he does just about everything right. He could maybe have taken it on a little bit further before he struck it, but he struck it extremely well in my book.
Well done O'Donnell as he chests it calmly back to Craig Gordon. Holds on. It's still another chance in this group that Scotland haven't scored from.
I'm thinking to Wembley as well, O'Donnell, when he's had that opportunity at the back post. But really, I think he needs to be applauded for getting into these positions. He is a wing back after all, and I think he struck it pretty well, and just unfortunate that it's equalled by a magnificent save.
Lyndon Dykes helped his feet by David Alaba. Scotland played the ball out to allow attention to the number 9.
This is good, Liam. We'll get all the medics on, all the King's horses and all the King's men.
We're seeing a replay of Lyndon Dykes' penalty conversion, and that could go down as one of the biggest Scotland goals in World Cup qualifying for a very long time. If they can see this out, and there's 20 minutes plus stoppages to go. As Craig says, this little period, little hiatus in the game is allowing the players to take on some water. It's allowing Steve Clarke and his team to get in about the players. They're going to make a change. Ryan Christie, I'm not sure if Dykes can continue. Ryan Christie is certainly going to come on, and I can only imagine it's Dykes who's coming off.
You would think so, and I don't think it would be a bad move.
It is.
You put another midfield player on, maybe just shore things up even more.
A little bit, but he's got energy to get forward as well. Christie too, I would hope that Steve Clarke's saying to him, by the way, you get in there as a midfield player, but I want you to get forward and get up and support say Adams.
And he'll take the ball, won't he? I mean, he's very, very comfortable in possession.
Dykes off, Christie on. Steve Clarke's Kilmarnock sides in particular were expert at winning games in this kind of situation, seeing them out and taking the lead. They were brilliant at coming from behind as well, winning games, to be fair. As Robertson picks up in the left, rolling it forward to Christie, who's just on. Robertson continuing his run, a couple of others in the middle, but he'll win the corner. Scotland's first of the evening, I think, and it's Ryan Christie's first involvement with 18.5 on the clock to play. Austria 0, Scotland 1.
This is when you want to shut out, isn't it? Really important game, hard fought. You get your nose in front. It's against the team that's seeded above you as well. And if you can see this one out, what a result.
The world a good one.
What a result.
Confidence will be sky high.
Yeah, chance to take the corner. Gilmour takes it, headed away up into the air by Trimmel. Helped on its way by Grealish. Scotland will pick up the scraps on the right-hand side of the penalty area with Christie. Turns it back to McGregor. On the spin, it's a lovely little reverse. Couldn't quite find McGinn. And sliding Grealish wins it back, but McGinn wins another corner off Grealish. 18 to play. Scotland leading by 1-0. And they're seeing plenty of the ball in the final third all of a sudden in these last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and it's good play by John McGinn again. He could let it go out for a throw-in, but he takes it in, plays it off him, gets a corner, walks away. Nobody's going out to take the corner. We can wait for another minute or two. And all these minutes that are ticking by, we're getting closer and closer to that final whistle.
And a priceless 3 points. Robertson will take the corner, in swinging into the near post. A poor one's headed away at that near post. And it's going to break to Kieran Tierney over on that left-hand side. Decides to go through the gears, trying to take on a couple of Austrians. Still going down towards the corner flag. He's got his cross in as well. Good tenacity from Tierney, but it's going to break the way of Alaba on his own. McGinn and Adams were in the box. Alaba's gone long now. Is there a flag? No, there isn't. And Arnautovic is onto it. Brilliant recovery by Jack Hendry, who stabs it back.
That's nonsense.
I think the flag has gone up, hasn't it?
Oh, we just spoke about this earlier on.
Yeah.
What a joke.
I know. Let it play and see if he scores, and then put your flag up.
It is ridiculous. We don't need to go over that again.
It just stops the linesman from making any decision. He doesn't put his flag up at all, he just waits.
Yeah, just doing what he's told though, isn't he?
Yeah.
John McGinn getting some instructions from Steve Clarke down here, but it will be a free kick to the Scots to be taken by Gordon. Listen, it was a great recovery from Hendry. It's unfortunate in his book that he won't be credited for that, as Gilmer picks up on this near side. Tightest of situations, he managed to find Christie, but eventually he bobbles out for a throw into the Austrians on this near side. 74 played, Austria 0, Scotland 1. The last time the Scots were in this kind of position in a game of this magnitude away from home against a higher ranked side. In one of these big qualifying matches, it was in Belgrade. They couldn't see it through in the 90 minutes. Can they see this one through? Not giving it away in that kind of position midway inside their own half. Austria have it. It's knocked out to Alaba. He's a bit level with the edge of the centre circle though. Into Hinteregger, who sweeps it out to that right-hand side. Austria going to make a double change in a moment as Robertson tries to win it back for the Scots, but it's Austria with Schab towards the edge of the penalty area. Arnautovic looking for Leimer, but it breaks down and it's cleared by O'Donnell. Just lashes it up the pitch as we head towards the final 15 minutes of the 90, with Scotland leading thanks to Lyndon Dykes' first half penalty to 0 in Vienna.
Yeah, I mean, it might be tempting fate, but they look as though they're running out of ideas on how to break Scotland down, I think. You know, although it's maybe a little bit deeper than we would hope to see, I think it's really effective. You know, they're going back in that 5. Yeah, you would like to see them up the park. Yeah, they're going to be under pressure, but, you know, so far in the game, they haven't wilted, have they? That Scotland defence.
And Craig Gordon hasn't made a save, has he?
No. Nope.
Not that I can think of.
And here come the Austrians. Trimmel, right-hand side of the Scottish box. He's found Alaba in a central area. He's hoisted it back into the box. Arnautovic gets the touch. Gordon comes to try and doesn't get near it. In the end, when it dropped to the ground, he lost it. But Arnautovic has been penalised, and Scotland have a free kick inside their own penalty area as we go in towards the closing 14, with Scotland leading by 1-0.
Yeah, I think he's went into Craig Gordon. I think the referee's got it right there.
When he sees his arms up, then he's always going to give a free kick there.
There's a huge roar gone up. The Shaw comes off to be replaced by Yusuf Demir, and that who's who the big shout was for. They've also brought Ulmer on for Grealish, Salzburg defender, plays at left back, and Yusuf Demir has come on as well, an 18-year-old who's on the books at Rapid Vienna, but he's on loan at Barcelona with an option to buy. And there's a big change coming up for Scotland because Stephen O'Donnell's crocked, and he's going to be replaced by a man who wasn't even in the squad for the first 2 games. Hibernian's Paul McGinn will join his brother on the pitch here as Stephen O'Donnell's night ends in injury. And that right-hand side's been a problem for Steve Clarke this entire campaign, or this entire training and qualifying match camp. And it's McGinn on for O'Donnell, Craig.
Yeah, and is this his first cap? Yeah, fantastic, isn't it? You know, he's I don't know how many games he'll have played in the top flight in Scotland, but it's great to see him getting rewarded. We did this, we spoke about Andrew Considine, didn't we? And all the work he'd done over the years, and that's just such a good pro he was. And it's good to see him get his cap.
Yep, and a proud night for the McGinn family. They're used to seeing the youngest of the brothers performing at the highest level with his national side. Now Paul McGinn has a cap. 12.5 to play. Challenged by Robertson, but it's Austrian possession down that far side with Demir. You'll know every single touch of the ball from the youngster by the reaction from the crowd who wanted him to start tonight. And Franco Foda has resisted that temptation. It's just his third cap. As the Austrians come forward, Hinteregger's a brilliant run from him out wide left. First time the ball from Ulmer's low into the penalty area. There's a shot blocked there by Grant Hanley, I think, and out it goes for the corner as Grigoric looked for the target. 12 to play in Vienna. Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Yeah, the temperature in the pot's just about reaching boiling point, isn't it? The pressure's really on now. We've got another sort of 12 minutes of the 90 to go. It's just about how manfully we can defend.
11.5 left. In comes the Alaba corner out. Swinger, free header, saved point blank by Gordon and away by John McGinn. The first save of note from Craig Gordon. It was right at him, but it's a brilliant piece of goalkeeping. And John McGinn was there to lump the ball away from the danger zone. A big chance for the Austrians, though, to draw level.
Yeah, free header from 6 yards out, right in the middle of the goals. And I think it's a brilliant save because he's already on his way down. Yeah. And he's had to throw his hand back up and get a strong enough hand on it to deflect it away.
Magnificent.
Yeah, how often have we seen that from Craig Gordon down the years? Here comes Demir down the right-hand side. It was Baumgartner he kept out, Craig Gordon. Been in good goal-scoring form. First effort and target for the Austrians on the night, though. Perhaps wouldn't have expected that after almost 80 minutes. As Shea Adams comes forward now, driving against the defender Dragovic at the edge of the area, looking for support. He's on his own, he shoots, it's wide! Just wide of that left-hand post. Shea Adams can't believe he's not made it 2-0. That is potentially the difference between winning this game and not. We shall see as we head in towards the final 10. Austria 0, Scotland 1, but a big chance for Adams.
Yeah, and to be fair to him, it's a fraction past the far post, isn't it? It's quite a tight angle, and he's got it back past the far post. Christie made up some ground to try and support him, and he uses this Christie a decoy, and it was a low shot towards the far corner, but just about a foot wide.
Again, it's like O'Donnell. I don't think you can point the finger at them. I think he's done as good a job as he possibly can there, other than find the back of the net.
Great play, Paul McGinn down the right-hand side for Gilmour, attacking the Austrian box. He's into it now. Billy Gilmour hitting the byline. Adams behind the back post area. The cross is cut out, though, as they try and keep it alive with Paul McGinn. Hinteregger gets it clear now. Austria with Demir on the right-hand side, looking to hit in the counter-attack. He's faced by Robertson. Robertson tried to stand up to the young Barcelona player. Down goes Demir inside the box. The referee allowing the advantage for the Austrians. It was a foul, but here comes Alaba, driving towards the Scotland box, crosses in, headed away by Hanley, but it's still inside the box. Take it down in the chest, crossed, header towards goal from Grigoric, is held on to calmly by Craig Gordon. He looks to be the coolest customer in Vienna, but it stays Austria 0, Scotland 1, 9 minutes to play.
We're just in a replay of the save as well, and it is a free header, isn't it, from the corner? And it's headed down, not an easy one for Craig Gordon to take, but he's got that instinct, isn't he? He's got that instinct just to be in the right place at the right time.
There was pace on the corner, and there was real pace on the header, and for me that's the hardest thing to deal with. But he manages it wonderfully well.
Hinteregger going all the way back to his keeper as Bachmann plays it short to Dragovic. 81.5 on the clock. Austria 0, Scotland 1. The Scots protecting that Lyndon Dykes penalty lead. And this, if they can see this through for the next 8.5 minutes plus injury time, as Adams fouls his man, and he was booked in the first half. This time it's Limer he's brought down, but if they can see this out, this is a massive 3 points.
Well, that's huge. But also, I wouldn't rule out another goal, in all honesty, for Scotland, because the longer the game goes, the more wide open the Austrians have become.
Yeah, it's Alaba in possession midway inside the Scottish half. Rolling it forward and getting it back from Ulmer. Alaba then rolls it back towards the halfway line for Hinteregger, who's been involved one way or another all night. The man who gave away the penalty. Hinteregger with the left foot ball is dreadful, and that goes behind for a goal kick. 82 on the clock. Austria 0, Scotland 1. And it's what Willie was saying earlier about running out of ideas. Clearly Hinteregger ran out of ideas on that occasion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, powerful centre-back. You know, we know where to go, really, and try to make it up as he's going along, and just deciding to play a pass to nobody and putting it out for the goal kick. So, yeah, bring it on. Many more like that would do us fine.
Number 4-0 Denmark at home to Israel. And that's a big result as well, given the Israelis' exploits in this section. Faroes are 2-0 up at home to Moldova. That doesn't matter as far as the Scots are concerned. It's Ulmer's long ball into the Scotland half, headed away by Tierney this time. Right of the centre circle, it's Trimmel. Here's Demir collecting it on the far side, midway inside the Scottish half. It's now with Alaba, rolls it along the deck to Arnautovic, the edge of the box, out wide right it comes, 7 minutes left of the 90. The cross ball comes in, it's missed Hanley this time, but it comes off the head of Grigoric. It is back to goal, and it goes harmlessly through to Craig Gordon, and it will stay 1-0 Scotland.
Yeah, again, good defending, wasn't it? I mean, that one situation from the corner where they got a free player is the only time that they've got first contact on a ball into the box. The three at the back have been magnificent.
Well, Steve Clarke's heart must be thumping down there as the seconds ebb away from the Austrians, and Adams wins a brilliant free kick just to the left of the centre circle there. Knew what he was doing, got himself between he and Dragovic and the ball. Goes down, free kick, and that just ticks away a few seconds. The clock's now on 84 with Scotland leading 1-0. But it's a wasted free kick which has been hoisted to the left-hand side of the box, gone straight to Trimmel, who calmly rolls it up the line to Demir, who plays it into his own box for Dragovic. It's a chance just to retain possession inside the Austria half there, gifted away by the Scots.
You've got to factor in tiredness now as well, Liam. There's a lot of tired players out there for sure.
Still work to do though. It's a chip ball which is going to evade the run of Baumgartner, and it goes right through to Gordon. And then frustration, I think, from Baumgartner, whose free header was saved by Craig Gordon, and he reacted by, well, he took his frustration out on the Ernst Happel pitch in the wake of that, started beating it to within an inch of its life.
Good play by Tierney again. They just it's killing time. Another minute clicks off the clock, and they get closer and closer to that final whistle.
A couple of changes for the Scots as well. Kevin Nisbet and Lewis Ferguson are going to come on. Nisbet, who started against Moldova. Ferguson, who was a late sub in Copenhagen and what was a miserable night last Thursday. Well, the Scots can pick up the 3 points here to add to those they collected against the Moldovans. What a good couple of nights' work that will have been, as Christie comes forward, rolling it to his left for McGregor. Couldn't find him. His now former Celtic teammate, but it's poor from Trimmel. Gives it straight back to McGregor on that left-hand side. Down the left flank goes Robertson. It goes behind. Is that a corner? Yes, it is. 85 and a half played. Demir is wanting a goal kick. He's not getting one. It's Austria 0, Scotland 1. And the Bulgarian referee's making a move to someone inside the box. There's been a bit of dissent there as Daniel Bachmann talks to the referee. Dragovic just pushing Bachmann away from the official. Well, it's a Scotland corner. How do you play this one with 4 minutes left? Short? Is it too early for that? Is it too soon for that?
I don't know. It looks like Billy's out there on his own, so
he wants it short.
Yeah, it looks like it.
He's thinking about it, but it's going into the box.
1-0 Scotland. Gilmer, he has taken it along the deck to Adams, who came to the edge of the box, back out to Gilmer. He then rolls it back to Robertson, takes a touch left-footed, swings the ball in. It's poor though, it's beaten everyone, and will pop out to this left-hand side with Trimmel. Rolls it side foot up the line for Ulmer. Steps away from McGregor, driving forward, left foot chip ball, looking for Arnautovic. trying to get it under control. Robertson gets back and does a heroic job as Tierney lashes it up high into the Vienna sky, and it's plucked out of it by Christie. Good touch. Now back to Paul McGinn. Now it's with Gilmore. Rolls it out to Ryan Christie on this right flank. Adams ahead of him. Finds Shea Adams, who goes down. Was he fouled by Trimmel? No, says the ref. Adams gets back to his feet. Still he has it. It's gone out of play for a throw-in, though, down on this near side, and it'll be an Austrian throw-in, but it's down by the corner flag, deep inside their own half. And the Scots will make the double change now, with Nisbet and Ferguson coming on. The new goalkeeping coach, Chris Woods, there, of course, former England goalkeeper, now part of Steve Clarke's backroom team. The old Rangers keeper, and he's handed the board to the fourth official. Nisbet comes on for Adams for the closing few minutes, and it's Ferguson for his old under-21 colleague Gilmore, who's had another outstanding evening in dark blue. And it's another change for the Austrians as well, and they are going to throw in another striker. Rapid Vienna's Erkan Kara is going to replace Lima, who had a decent first half, faded in the second, but it's another striker for the Scots to deal with as the clock heads towards 88 minutes in Vienna. They're so close they can almost touch 3 massive points as Robertson plays it to Hanley, to Ferguson, and back to Hendry. Right foot dink ball down the right hand side. There's one in the air by Hinteregger. Alaba couldn't control. It's with John McGinn holding off Alaba, and then Ferguson goes down. Free kick Scotland, right hand side of the centre circle. Less than 2 of the 90 to go for the Scots. And the Scotland supporters watching back home, it'll feel like a whole lot longer, though.
Yeah, well, but it's been a top-notch performance, hasn't it? You know, I think Austria have basically run out of ideas. You know, unless they can produce something special that they haven't shown that they were capable of producing. And I think that's on the back of how well organised Scotland have been, how well they've defended, and just their general play.
Nisbet couldn't keep it in play down this near side, goes out for a goal kick to the Austrians.
What's your guess at how many extra minutes, Liam?
4.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5.
Yeah. We're about to go into the 90th minute. The referee's got his card out. There's a yellow card for somebody. Is it Dragovic? Can't see the number on the monitor. I think it is Dragovic. You can see the little bun in the hair. Yeah. And it's a yellow for Dragovic. He's obviously said something to annoy the referee.
You lose your discipline, they've lost their discipline, haven't they?
Yeah, but they've still got time.
Yeah, but they've lost their discipline.
89 and a half on the clock. Scotland, as it stands, second in the group. Here come Austria. Arnautovic, first time ball into the channel of the right hand side of the box, but Robertson sees us behind as we head towards the final 20 seconds of the 90 minutes. Little high five between Robertson and Tierney before the Scots skipper claps to try and encourage his teammates over the line, and the line can almost be seen now, Craig Levine.
Yeah, and then the Austrians are focusing on the manager, the director's focusing on the manager, isn't he? So he's obviously under a bit of pressure. But listen, we get over the line here, and this is an absolutely fantastic result.
Here's the injury time. Here's the injury time. We'll find out what it is. 4 it is.
4 minutes.
Here's Grigoric. We're into the first of 4 minutes of stoppage time. Scotland lead 1-0. Here come Austria, though, right-hand side of the box, and it comes, headed away, only as far as Alaba. Keeping it alive, back towards Alaba, heads it into the box. There's a couple in an offside position. Oh no, that's gone in. No, but the flag's up. The flag goes up. The ball was in the net. I thought for a second there it might come off a Scottish player last, but the flag eventually goes up, and that is an absolute delight for Steve Clarke and anyone of a Scottish persuasion watching this game. And it will remain Austria 0, Scotland 1, and another few seconds are taken out of the equation. Yeah, it's actually Baumgartner, he was well offside. You can get caught up in a moment, though. In fact, they're having a little VAR check for some reason.
I don't.
Not sure what that's over. They've obviously been underworked in the second half, the VAR. Anyway.
And Craig, you didn't say tonight again, 1-0. Dyche scoring.
No, that's twice in a row, I forgot.
I thought Nisbet was onside there. He elected not to run for the ball. We played just over a minute of the 4 that were added on at the end. Austria 0, Scotland 1. It's with David Alaba, midway inside his own half in a central area, driving up towards the halfway line. He goes into the Scottish half. Left of the centre circle. It's another chip ball forward. Scotland have been winning them all night, but it comes off Grigoric. Couldn't quite find Arnautovic. Arnautovic on it now. It's inside the Scotland box. The referee's going to blow for an Austrian free kick on the edge of the Scotland box. There's going to be a nervy moment, at least one, and it's going to come in the shape of an Austrian free kick. Jack Hendry, the offender.
I didn't see what happened there.
It was a handball, I think.
Oh, we're seeing it now. It was, yeah, it's actually come off Ferguson.
Oh, listen, his hand's behind his back. How can he? His hand's not away from his body, is it?
I know, but hey, this is a moment.
Yeah, this is the moment. You kind of feel if Scotland survive this, they're winning this game of football. It's a big if right now, because Austria have players more than capable of scoring. The one thing you would say is that it's very close to the goal.
And a big wall.
Yeah. Arnautovic is eyeing it up though. Alaba's there too. 2.5 minutes into 4 minutes of second half stoppage time. Austria 0, Scotland 1. Here it comes. Alaba with the left. And Baumgartner actually is over the other side as Alaba hits it over the bar. And it stays Austria 0, Scotland 1. And is that Austria's race run? And are Scotland about to pick up 3 points that have shot new life into this World Cup qualifying campaign? They lead 1-0 going into the dying embers in Vienna.
I think they deserve it as well. I think it's been a magnificent performance from them. And in more ways than one. Certainly it was wide open in the first half. Second half, you know, they have defended, well, throughout the game they've defended really well. Different type of defending, but anything crossed into the box they've taken care of. And you know, they get the penalty and Dyke steps up and puts it in the back of the net. Doesn't matter how it goes, it finishes in the back of the net, and over the piece I think they've been a better team.
Long ball for Austria. It's going to be headed away by Paul McGinn. More height than distance though. The Austrians have it at the edge of the penalty area, and then it's booted away by Kieran Tierney. There's only about 20 seconds of the injury time to play. Ryan Christie has it as he drives down this right hand side. He can eat it all up now, Christie. It's about 10 seconds left. It's played into John McGinn. McGinn driving forward out to the right-hand side of the box, down into the corner flag. Then he turns away from Demir and then turns back towards the corner flag. I make that the 4 minutes have been played. And the referee does too. 3 points. 3 priceless points in Vienna. The boos and the shrill whistles from the locals tell you what's happened here tonight. And what has happened is Scotland have come up with their best away result, arguably, since 2007 in Paris. Yes, they beat the Serbians on penalties to reach the Euros, but as a standalone qualification result, this has brought them right back into the equation. Lyndon Dykes' penalty after the VAR check on 30 minutes is what's made the difference. And Stevie Clarke has pulled a massive rabbit out of the hat. And from every single starter to the subs, they all played their part this evening. And the way the players are embracing on the pitch tells you just how big this is. The Austrians don't know where to look. They're in crisis. And Denmark have hit Israel for 5. It is the perfect night for Steve Clarke and his team. It is a wonderful night for Steve Clarke and his team. And they can now go into the home game against Israel next month with renewed confidence and vigour. That now becomes the biggest game in this group. And a victory in that one, which will be followed up by 2 games against the whipping boys of the group, gives the Scots an almighty shot at the World Cup playoffs and a place in Qatar next year. It finishes in the Ernst Happel Stadium. Austria 0, Scotland 1.
Scotland, live on Sports Sound.
A 2022 World Cup qualifier.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Magnificent, absolutely magnificent, and a sequence of results this evening that sees Scotland move back up into second place in the group. Denmark just cannot be stopped. Another clean sheet. 5 goals hammered past Israel. They have scored 22 without reply in 6 matches. They've got 18 points. Scotland have got 11 points, Israel 10, Austria 7, and the Faroe Islands have just picked up their first win, a 2-1 victory against Moldova. Olsen and Vantsal, 2 goals midway through the second half. Milincharian got one back towards the end, but the Faroes no doubt will be celebrating that. Means that they have moved clear of Moldova at the bottom of the table. Denmark's 5-0 win against Israel certainly does us no harm at all. But wow. 1-0 Dykes. It's become the mantra, and it's happened again, 2 in a row. And after, well, particularly the first half against Denmark, where you really did begin to wonder where it was all going to go for Scotland, they have kept 2 successive clean sheets. They've picked up 2 successive wins. And they do move just a little bit closer, potentially, to those playoff places and a step towards that 18-point target that we were talking about. I mean, that is a massive win for Scotland this evening. 3 points surely against the Faroes away. Got to think 3 points against Moldova away. We're getting ever closer potentially. But the big one is, I mean, I said this at half-time, you just everything you're feeling, everything you're experiencing, everything you're going through right now, pick it up, put it in your pocket and just drop it down in the first week of October, because it's going to feel even worse. It's going to be even more intense when it comes to that Israel game. And the bottom line is, Dodgy, they've given themselves that real big opportunity and they thoroughly deserved it, didn't they?
It was a sensational result. I felt a lot calmer second half watching it than I did in the first. I thought they were going to get us at some point and they didn't, because we put in a really disciplined performance in the second half. I've got us, I'm just calculating the point, I've got us way up at 20 points now, Richard, when we win our next 3 games.
I did say that if we drew and won 3, that would be 18 points going into Denmark. But now that we've won that one, if we do win those 4 in a row, or would be 5 in a row, yeah, you're absolutely right. That would take another 20 points. And it would also mean that ahead of the home game against Denmark, that we don't need to worry about Israel and Austria. It would all be sorted out.
I'm saying it in jest a wee bit, but yeah, I'll take the 20, of course. But yeah, there's a long way to go and we've got to handle the games properly. But I always thought that Austrian result against Israel really helped us. I would have taken a point tonight, but winning it's, as I said, sensational, and it really stands us in good stead, gives us a bit of leeway, and we're more than capable of taking care of the Faroes and Moldova. It'll be difficult, yes, and then it's all down to that Israel game, and we're playoff specialists. I've said that too.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, it will be that game against Israel. It's a 5 o'clock kickoff. It is Saturday the 9th of October. That is it. That is the game that could make or break it. We then would have to, of course, go and do the business both in Tórshavn against the Faroes, in Chisinau against Moldova. But if we can do that, then it does mean that there's every chance the game against Denmark right at the end of the campaign would be immaterial, wouldn't matter.
Just calm
Simply,
down.
Hey, I'm dealing in facts here, Tom.
Yeah.
The
but
facts are that if those things happen, that will be the case.
Just rejoice in the here and now. Never mind tomorrow, because today is good enough. And that was a brilliant victory. It was exactly what Scotland needed. They're now 4 points clear of Austria. They've sickened Austria, and that's what they had to do. They had to sicken Austria. Austria are up against it now. They're in all sorts of trouble. They've got a home game against Israel next, and the destiny is in their own hands. They're in second place. They're a point clear of Israel with a very, very mature performance. Really mature. I thought they defended brilliantly. Austria were hustled and harried out of it. They had no accuracy in their game. They had no control in their game, Austria. They didn't create a whole lot. I know it felt tense, but really Scotland weren't under a huge amount of pressure. They conceded a fair amount of possession to Austria, but Austria didn't do a whole lot with it.
It felt tense because that's the bag of being a Scotland football fan.
And the prize, exactly. The prize on offer,
Craig Gordon,
what they've got, is so huge.
Yeah, he was called upon to make one very good save.
And also, Austria should have had 2 men sent off.
Yes.
Hinteregger should have gone in the first half. Second half, Arnautovic has a shoulder to the head of Billy Gilmour. And this makes me really, really angry. It's a clear shoulder to the head of Billy Gilmour. If that's rugby, there's no debate. He's off. Arnautovic is off. This is football. It's definitely off. But there's not even a review. They don't even send it to VAR. It's the most blatant red. It's the most blatant red. It's the most blatant red you're going to get. And this is part of football's problem, that they don't pick that up, you know? And that was a joke. And I'm delighted that Scotland won for many reasons, but for that as well, because they should have had 2 men off. Arnautovic should definitely have been off for that cheap shot. Dodsey's right. It was a cheap shot. But they saw it out. I'm delighted for Steve Clarke, you know. I'm delighted for these players to put in a really good performance like that, and they could have scored. They could have scored more, but tonight we're not bemoaning kind of missed chances. They hit the target. They did what O'Donnell did it, Adams did it. They hit the target. They had decent efforts, just decent saves, but they got that goal, and they deserved the penalty. It was a penalty, and they deserved their win. It's great.
Yeah,
we also got away with one, didn't we? Again, although Willie didn't think it was a penalty, but listen, if they got the corner in, things did go our way all night, and we deserved it because I thought my performance merited it.
I've got to say, for me, that's never a yellow card.
Yeah, but he was given the penalty though, wasn't he?
Well, I think both players are kind of pulling it. Well, they're not even pulling it. I mean, they're up against each other. But Dodsey, you know as well as I do, there's worse than that goes on the box every single corner.
Absolutely, but
yeah, if the ball had been played,
it would have been a penalty.
Corner had been taken.
The penalty would have been given.
Given that he's given the yellow card, he's clearly decided that Grant Hanley was.
Would have been the wrong decision, I think.
When we needed things to go our way tonight,
went our way. Yeah.
They went our way.
Yeah.
And I'm talking the result in Denmark as well. Brilliant.
I've got to say also, we can talk about things that went our way, but actually, what a brilliant defensive performance that was by those. Well, certainly by the 3 central defenders.
Richard, that was the point I was going to make. I mean, I know things did go our way, but you have to do things properly.
Yes,
you have to defend properly, and we could say that in recent matches we probably haven't defended as well as we needed to. But that for me was back to what Steve Clarke does best: organised, make sure that we don't give anything away. The opposition have to work so hard to get a result, and I was absolutely thrilled with that performance tonight. I really was, and I'm just gutted again I didn't have a bet on 1-0 Dykes.
Well, Craig, we have to give that one to you because you did mention the fact that you
no,
pre-match. I'm a generous soul, Willie. I'm giving that to Craig. I'm giving it to him.
Well, I mean, we're saying this as if it happens every single time. I mean, he's scored 4
just when Craig doesn't mention it happens.
He's scored 4 goals for Scotland. 3 of them have come in 1-0 Dykes wins, and 2 of them have been the 2 that you didn't talk about. So you've only actually got it right once.
By the way, that's 5 for club and country. That's 5 goals in 5 games for Dykes.
As I told you as we were discussing it off air, I don't care about his QPR goals. It's the Scotland goals that matter.
Well, his QPR goals matter because you get a confident player because of the QPR goals.
But you get people questioning why you play Dykes. You know, and I just think, and I think me and Craig have said it all along, is that he is a focal point.
Yeah.
He is an out for defenders if they need to play that long ball. Not that I'm suggesting that Scotland are a long ball team. They're not. They can play, but you need it from time to time. You need that kind of a focal point up front. And then the rest of the players can play off him. And if he can score goals as well, you know, what is the debate? There shouldn't be a debate. He should be the starter.
For me, it's also his energy and his willingness to run and his willingness to challenge. All of these things, he accepts the physicality of the position that he plays in, and he tries to dominate centre-backs. And for me, I think that's really important. You know, if somebody like John McGinn, for me, who's one of the best second ball midfield players I've ever seen. Yeah. You know, he reads everything so well. And when the ball goes up there and it sticks, or even if Lyndon Dykes jumps into a centre-back so he can't get a good clearance and the ball drops, then John McGinn's always around those areas. Yeah. And it works really well for us. And I think Dykes has been really good. I thought him and Adams tonight were good.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were good. And there's more to come from Adams, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Incidentally, just from a quick kind of going through the calculations there again, as Dodsey said, because we've got that win in Vienna, we win our next 3 matches, we're on 20 points ahead of the game against Denmark. The most Israel could get, if we beat them, the most they can get going into that final game is 16. So therefore, they're out of it. And Austria aren't even, 13 would be the most they could get. And that's assuming they beat Israel at home and lose to Denmark away. and beat Israel at home.
So that's the next 3 wins. So that would make 5. Listen, if Scotland win 5 games in a row, then they absolutely deserve. It's just unfortunate that Denmark are invincible at the moment.
Can we not catch Denmark, Tom?
Well, we can't. We can't want them to keep winning. Just let them keep beating everybody. That's fine. Just a side note. A really, really annoying moment for Stephen McGinn this evening, as both Paul and John got their caps. Everything. Now, I'm sure the brothers delighted, but John and Paul both on the pitch at the same time there for Scotland. First time that's happened since Stephen and Gary Caldwell back in August 2009. The last time they played in the same game, we lost 4-0 to Norway, which maybe tells its own story. And I was having a quick look. I was trying to think other brothers. Certainly in my lifetime, the only ones I could think of were Eddie Gray and Frank Gray, but they never actually played together. Eddie did have a bit of a resurgence in his international career. Played 4 games in 1976. Frank played just the 1 in 76, but not in any of the 4 that Eddie played in. And I've got to say, prior to that, no idea. I mean, there will have been brothers back in the dim and distant, but certainly in all the time I've been watching Scottish football, I mean, that's quite a thing, isn't it? Willie, Paul and John, certainly in the last 50, 60 years, maybe longer, only the second pair of brothers to both play in the same Scotland international side.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant for the players themselves. It's brilliant for their parents. It's brilliant for the whole family, isn't it? To see, 2 of the 3 getting capped and getting their opportunity, and such an important game as well. So it's fabulous for that point of view. It's a night to celebrate, though, isn't it? Really, I think that is any win away from home, Richard, at international level, at this kind of a level where you're playing against a team that are seeded higher than you in the rankings, and you get a result. You get a win. That is magnificent. I says that before the game. I thought a draw would have been a good result for us. A win would be a magnificent result, and that's where it is. It's right up there. This has put you into a position that you've just went over through your stats that we can only chuck it away, and I don't think that we're going to chuck it away. I think Steve Clarke has got the team organised. I think there is belief, I think on the performance of tonight.
About the England versus India Test Series. This is the 3rd match out of this. Hello and welcome to my vlog. My name is Ishan and I'm back for another video. But this video is about the England versus India Test Series. This is the 3rd match out of this Test Series. The first one was cancelled out due to rain, so it would end up as a draw. The second match, India had won. They had bowled England out for their second innings and they had won that match. Now this is the 3rd and final test match. If England win this, it will be very crucial for them as they will end the series as a draw. So as the time I'm recording this, India has lost 3 wickets, and before the match had started, they had won the toss and elected to bat. So Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul came out to bat for the opening batsmen, and then England's legendary bowler, highest wicket taker, Jimmy Anderson, came to open the bowling. The first ball, it was a good ball, a lot of in-swing from Jimmy Anderson. He came and Rohit Sharma played a beautiful shot, and he got just a single from the first ball. Then KL Rahul was on strike. Just for 3 balls, he just set himself into the match. His dot balls, but then on the last ball of the over, Jimmy Anderson struck and he bowled a fuller ball, and unfortunately for KL Rahul, he was caught behind by Josh Buttler. Then Pujara came in to bat as number 3. As he always does, he always defends and tries to play out the match. He's a great test batsman, and then he just tries to defend most balls. He gets a run, but then Anderson comes back, bowls another great ball in swing, and he gets caught behind by Buttler again. Then India's great captain Virat Kohli comes onto the field, gets a great reception by the crowd, and of course, as you know, he is a great batsman and he got a few good runs, lovely cover drives from him. He ended up with 7 runs, but then Jimmy Anderson again comes back eager for his 3rd wicket and takes Virat Kohli like he did in the first Test match. Another 4 ball, and he was caught behind by Josh Butler. And after these 3 wickets have fallen, Rohit Sharma and Rahane had made a good partnership. They've settled into the match and they seem as if they're going to make a great partnership. So Rohit Sharma is on about 12 runs and Rahane is also on 12 runs. So currently India are on 47 for 3 after 23 overs have been played. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll be making more videos about updates for this Test match. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you come back to watch more. Thank you. Goodbye.